Reds as they take on one of their arch rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals, in the final game of this 3-game series between a couple of very good teams this year. The Cardinals, in fact, not only lead the National League Central, they have the best record in all of baseball, but the Reds and the Pirates, who lost today to the Cubs, are hanging right with them. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman, Oral Hershiser, John Kruk. Two very talented teams. Let's begin with the Reds. A very good offensive team, and it's all keyed by one of the most unique players in all of baseball, in Joey Votto.
Joey Votto is very unique, Dan, and the fact that he takes a ton of pitches. But his resume speaks for itself, and you can't argue with what he's done. Joey Votto, former MVP in 2010. A big year there to help the Reds get in the postseason. .418 career on-base percentage. I mean, you can't argue with these numbers that Joey Votto puts up. .349 career batting average with runners in scoring position. He's patient. He sees a lot of pitches. He's going to start swinging, though, early in the count, according to Dusty Baker. And all it does is help Brandon Phillips. 45 RBIs, on pace for over 100 on this season, and probably another Gold Glove. So
whereas with Cincinnati, you can really key in a little bit more on 2-3 hitters, with St. Louis, Earl, you look 1 through 8 in their lineup, and anybody can hurt you. As we check out the Cardinals lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell, a couple of very impressive hitting streaks going on right now.
Yeah, you look at the whole lineup in the last 3 games. Every position player over the last 3 games has at least 1 hit. But at the top of the order, Matt Carpenter has a hitting streak of 17 games. He's getting on base. He hasn't struck out in his last 36 plate appearances. And then you get through the heart of the order, but you get down to a guy who has an 18-game hitting streak, and David Freese. He's raised his personal average over 70 points. They have a very good lineup, and they have on-base percentage, and they have power.
And one of their most important hitters, Matt Holliday, visited moments ago with our Buster Olney.
Matt, you guys have a historically great on-base percentage with runners scoring position at .410. How are you doing it?
Well, I think we have a lot of hitters that use the middle of the field, are more opposite field type hitters. And I think that's our approach, drive the ball through the middle of the field. We have a lot of guys that don't strike out a whole lot, and so I think that helps. I think we don't have a lot of guys that rely on pulling the ball to have success. So I think that's been our main key.
Matt, thanks. Dan, back to you.
All right, Buster, thank you. What is the main key going to be today for Bronson Arroyo? Only about 86 miles an hour on the fastball, but Oral, he's durable, and he wins every single year.
Well, he knows how to pitch, and it's artistry. He changes speeds and changes arm angles on every pitch at this point in his career. It used to be just the four-seamer and the curveball with change of speeds. Now you'll see the changeup and a lot of different angles with the breaking ball.
Underway here in Cincinnati with a called strike. Delivered from Arroyo to Cardinal leadoff man Matt Carpenter on that impressive 17-game hitting streak we just told you about. He's taken over as the second baseman this year, and as the primary leadoff man more recently. John Jay went through a real drought, so he's been moved down in the lineup. And Carpenter's a guy that his manager Mike Matheny says, for a young hitter or a relatively inexperienced hitter, really grinds out at bats, does not give an at bat away, gets deep into the count. Good movement on that pitch from Arroyo when the count is 1-2. You hear about Holliday, Molina, Beltran, Freese, Craig. Carpenter kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, but look at what he's done since he's become the leadoff hitter.
Rafael Furcal probably would have been the leadoff hitter if he was healthy, but out of necessity, they had John Jay early in the season, and then he throw Carpenter in there, and I think Mike Matheny's going to stick with this one for a while.
Just outside with a curveball, and Arroyo Oral will change speeds, move the ball around, take something off, put something on.
And we've already seen the sidearm fastball, and there was an attempt at a backdoor breaking ball. He will use all the different weapons.
Changed his arm angle there.
Little cut fastball or changeup in there at 75, kind of ran it in on him. Bronson will admit to you that he doesn't throw as hard as he did in his youth. He's now 36 and topped off at about 92 miles an hour early on, back when he was with Boston.
Got him. Back to the slow breaking ball to strike him out.
Well, we've seen the sidearm fastball. We saw a sidearm changeup, a attempt at a backdoor breaking ball, but here 3-2, he goes back to it and gets the call. That unorthodox leg kick that he actually takes the leg back underneath him very, very well and sets up a conventional hip turn. But the leg kick is definitely deceptive.
Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire tonight. As Carlos Beltran, it's a chopper right at Brandon Phillips for out number 2. Visit Gamecast at ESPN.com/MLB/scores. Find tonight's game, then click on the Gamecast link. You'll find up-to-the at-bat stats on tonight's game, multiple Twitter feeds, and see behind-the-scenes video. Plus, you can join a live chat about the game. 2 down, nobody on, and Matt Holliday will be the hitter. 259, 9 home runs on the season. Well, we saw that the Cardinals, or Carpenter, a little bit unhappy with that strike call on Carpenter to strike him out. Phil Cuzzy had an argument last night with Mike Matheny at the conclusion of the ball game when Joey Votto appeared to come off the bag. Well, the St. Louis hitter was called out, and that ended the game in a 4-2 Cincinnati win, denying Matt Holliday of a chance to come up with the bases loaded in 2 outs in the 9th inning. And Matheny was steamed, so Cuzzy's in his crosshairs after last night, and probably again here early tonight already.
Well, you would hope that the umpire wouldn't hold a grudge because a guy argued with him, but you would hope it doesn't enter his mind to say, okay, if it's a close pitch, I'm going to call it against the Cardinals. I think these guys have more integrity than that.
Yep.
Although at times, Dan, it did feel like they were against you.
Here's the play from last night that bothered the Cardinals. Frazier with the long throw. And what really bothered Mike Matheny and the Cardinals is Mike Matheny says that he asked Phil Cuzzy to ask for help. Asked the second base umpire, asked the home plate umpire. But Mike Matheny says that Cuzzy would not ask for help, just walked off the field at the end of the game. That's what really got him steamed.
And that's the frustrating thing if you're a manager, because it has come to that in baseball where guys will ask for help. You know, apparently Phil Cuzzy said, you know what, I had it, I'm right, I'm not going to have to ask. The only guy that could have seen that was the home plate umpire, and that's the guy you would have had to ask in that situation.
That was Mike Estabrook last night working the plate, working third base tonight. Sidearm sweeping pitch that winds up outside, and no swing on the appeal. And already we can see Arroyo dipping into his bag of tricks.
Yeah, he was convincing Holliday that he was going to try and get him out inside, not let him extend his arms, and then built the count that way, and then went with that little sweeper away. Turned into about a 79-mile-an-hour sidearm slider.
Got him. Arroyo gets the Cardinals in order, including a couple of strikeouts here in the top of the first. Cincinnati, Ohio. Dusty Baker, his lineup presented by Taco Bell. Looks like this. They are one of the best offensive teams in the National League. Not quite at the Cardinals level, but they can definitely hurt you. They get on base with the best of them, led by Joey Votto, who leads the National League in on-base percentage, and his buddy Shin-Soo Choo is second in the National League in on-base percentage, and that means Brandon Phillips has had a lot of opportunities to drive in runs this year. He's on pace for well over 100 RBIs on the season. They will face a tough customer, Bulldog, and right-hander Lance Lynn.
You think about aces on the Cardinals, you think Chris Carpenter, well, he's hurt. Then you go to Adam Wainwright, and then you think, okay, Lance Lynn, he's new to the rotation over the last couple of years. Well, this guy has the most wins in the big leagues over the last 2 years with 26. So that's above Dickey, Verlander, Gonzalez, Scherzer. And he's added a two-seamer, a little bit more. It's been there, but not as predominant. So he's getting people out quicker, and he's going deeper into games.
Newcomer to Cincinnati this year, Shin-Soo Choo, center fielder, leadoff man, .433 on base percentage. Over 40 walks. He's been hit by a pitch 17 times already this year.
Dusty Baker had a funny way of saying what he does in the batter's box when he gets hit by a pitch. He said he like curls up like a turtle. I said, well, apparently that's why he wears the double ear flaps.
He's doing what they acquired him to do, and that's get on base. You can understand why they're right up there near the top of the league in runs scored when you've got 1 and 2 in the league in on base percentage.
The thing is, too, Dan, he has some pop in that leadoff spot, too. 10 home runs. Yeah, you know, most of the time of pitchers, let me get a feel for my fastball. Let me see if I can locate it. You know, Chu can jump on one and hit one out of the ballpark and get you behind real quick.
Hit pretty well down the left field line. Fair ball. On his way to second and in there with a double.
Well, this is what both teams do, is they go the other way in great ways. You talked about Chu. 0-2, and Lance Lynn's trying to get that two-seamer down and away, and he caught too much of the plate with it. And that's a perfect two-strike approach. Not trying to do too much. The pitcher's giving me something down and away. I can't hit it out of the ballpark. Let me just put it in play and see what happens. And he gets a double, and now the Reds are cooking right now.
So here's Derek Robinson, the left fielder, hitting .340 in limited at-bats. A guy who's starting to make a bit of an impression on Dusty Baker. Shows bunt. He takes outside, ball 1. A switch hitting outfielder. He's got some speed. And left field with Ryan Ludwig out for the last couple of months, hasn't played since opening day. Dusty Baker's tried quite a few guys out there right now, and if Robinson continues to swing the bat as he has recently, he's going to find himself getting more playing time. Gets it down. Gets it done. Out by a step. Sacrifice moves Chu to third. So runner at third, 1 out, and here's Joey Votto. And this kind of leads us right into the conversation we were having at dinner tonight. He'll take a walk as much as anybody, but he's also a great hitter. And would you rather see him be extremely patient and draw the walk, or would you want the sac fly here if those are the two options?
I'd like to see him swing the bat if he gets strikes.
This has been one of the big topics, I think, this year and to a lesser extent last year in Cincinnati. Is there such a thing as being too selective?
Well, with the live K zone up, we'll get to see where the pitch is, if he offers at it or if he takes it. But in this situation, you're looking for him to drive the ball. And John, you've talked about this a lot, where you've got to really realize as a quality hitter, the guy that's don't let him beat you, is the pitcher pitching to me, or is he trying to make me get an out?
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing with Joey Votto is you know, Lance Lynn just made 2 really good pitches and he spit on both of them. I think it's a situational thing with Votto. That's a perfect example. He got 2-0. He got a fastball that he thought he could handle, and he took a hack at it. But to me, you know, when people start saying, oh, he walks too much, he doesn't expand his strike zone, that's the way he plays. I think, though, in a situation where if it's a bad matchup for Brandon Phillips, like a tough righty, you know, like a Matt Harvey or someone like that, you know, Joey might expand his strike zone to put the ball in play, try to hit it in the air, but he trusts Brandon Phillips, and Brandon Phillips has proven this year that he can drive in a lot of runs. So why not put more on base?
Hacking, and it's 2-2.
Lance Lynn has made 4 quality pitches, nothing in the heart of the plate. He's been on the edges or in the strike zone, and he's using his fastball and coming right after him.
If he has a breaking ball, he better feature it right here. I don't think you can throw a great hitter like this 4 fastballs or 5 fastballs. Maybe he can, but
I don't mind fastball in off the plate right here, and then the 3-2 breaking ball to surprise him. It looks like they're going breaking ball now, John, unless that's the fastball. Yep, he went for it. A lot of times in Molina, you'll see a 2 or a 3, and it's not always going to be a breaking pitch.
But now that he missed with a breaking ball, Crucky, if you're the hitter, you know fastball's coming now, right?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea that there's a fastball coming, but he's liable to throw him another because he doesn't care if he walks him.
That's what I think I would throw him. I'd throw him a breaking ball that looks like a low fastball and ends up in the dirt. See if he chases. Oh, an inside fastball almost by him. 93 gives you a little leeway of what to do. We got Bronson Arroyo on the other side. Will probably top off at 90, but Lance Lynn can go all the way up to about 96. Joey Votto just stayed back, read a strike, and protected the plate. Just didn't get the barrel on it, but fouled it off and stayed alive.
In and out of the glove of Molina.
And you see how deep that ball is into his body. He's not trying to pull the ball. He's just trying to hit something the other way, over the shortstop's head or in a gap, or a deep enough fly ball to score Chu.
You know, a couple of crazy stats that we got from our research department about Votto. Since the beginning of 2000, here's how often he squares the ball up. Since the beginning of 2010, he's popped up twice. That means to the infield, not fly balls to the outfield, obviously. He popped up twice. And apparently in his career, his entire career, 6 years, he's pulled one ball foul into the seats. One. And everybody knows he likes to use the whole field, left, center, drive the ball that way. But boy, he just, when he swings, he seems to barrel it up as much as anybody. Takes the walk.
I don't have a problem with that walk, because he swung at the balls that were hittable. He just happened to foul them off. So the critique that I had at dinner, that maybe he walks too much with runners in scoring position, I like that at bat.
Yeah, he got 2-0. He swung, had an aggressive swing 2-0, an aggressive swing 2-1. He even had aggressive swings after he had 2 strikes. Yeah, that's just one of these at bats where Lance Lynn threw 4 pitches that he couldn't hit, and he ended up walking him. It's not bad to walk with a guy that's had 45 RBIs hit behind you and hitting 291. It's not like, you know, like, oh my gosh, our chances are over, we can't score now.
And Phillips has had more men on base, or has come up to the plate more often with men on base than anybody else in the National League this year. And the 2 reasons why are out there right now, Chu and Votto. And as you saw from those numbers, he's also done a great job driving them in, hitting over 400 with runners in scoring position this year.
And I've watched a few of the Reds games, and in this situation, first and third, he'll try to take one out early in the count. He'll try to leave the ballpark and get a big 3-run homer. But, you know, once he gets settled in, he'll try to hit something in between that hole to first and third Votto and score Chu.
And it's amazing the different philosophies. Votto says, I'll take pitches, I'll take a walk to help my team. And Brandon Phillips says, I'm the cleanup hitter now. My job is to drive in runs.
And he's absolutely right. And the thing is, he has a guy behind him, and Jay Bruce, with a lot of power, the potential to drive in a ton of runs. So, you know, Phillips knows that even if he doesn't drive in this run, there's still a chance that, you know, he's going to give Bruce a chance to do it. He's had 2 pretty ugly swings, though, off of Lynn.
Flares it toward right field, a base hit. Chu will score. Votto around to third, 1-0, Cincinnati.
And this is what I was talking about. Brandon Phillips gets 2 strikes on him. He had 2 not very pretty swings. But it's the 0-2 pitch. He decides, you know what? I just have to put this ball in play. Look at that swing. Pitch down and away, probably out of the zone. You talk about a guy expanding his zone, and he hits this little blooper. Look at Votto right there. Quick read right off the bat. Saw it was not going to be caught by Beltran. Now he goes first to third. Watch Joey Votto right here. See, he takes a secondary lead. As soon as that ball leaves the bat, he's off and running. If he hesitates with Beltran's arm, he might not be able to get to third. Now he got another situation where fly ball can score another run.
And Jay Bruce will do that. Sac fly to score Votto, 2-0.
We've seen 5 Reds hitters, and every one is executed perfectly. Not always a hit, but the sacrifice bunt, the sacrifice fly, wedged in between those hits that were outstanding, making contact and taking your walk if you're Votto.
Yeah, you want to be critical of a guy. You know, he should open the strike zone and swing more. I mean, if he hits a ground out right there or a weak fly ball somewhere to score Chu, this is a mute inning right now. It's a 1-run inning. Now they have a potential. You know, if Frazier hits a gapper right here with Phillips' speed, they can have a 3-run inning.
Phillips will draw a throw. For more on Phillips, let's go down to Buster Olney.
He was hit by a pitch last week and was out of lineup for almost a week, and he told me that forearm is still bothering him, but he knows how much he's needed in the Cincinnati lineup, so he's going to play.
And you can see that kind of a swing probably is not going to make it feel any better. He missed 4 games, returned Friday.
Well, if it's his right forearm, he didn't need it for that, AB.
There's Todd Frazier, the third baseman. St. Louis won 9-2 Friday night. Cincinnati won 4-2 last night. The Reds 3 back of the Cardinals in the NL Central. The count 0-2 on Frazier. Dusty Baker, after Friday night's game, talked in glowing terms about the Cardinals' ability to keep innings going, to come up with those clutch hits, 2-out hits, runners in scoring position hits. And Mike Matheny says it's just a mindset the whole team has developed. They've got the confidence to do so. But this has the makings of a great race all summer long. Fly ball to right field to end the inning. But it's a productive inning for the Reds. A 2-0 lead at the end of 1. Hershiser, Buster Olney, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Good one. Cardinals and Reds. Big time rivalry. 2 of the 3 contending teams right now in the National League Central, along with the Pirates. And the Reds with a 2-0 lead as we go to the second. Bronson Arroyo, an impressive first inning, 3 up, 3 down. And a couple of strikeouts. Alan Craig, the first baseman, leads it off for the Cardinals. Another guy who has been hot. Was hitting .263 at the end of April. He's hitting .353 since, and he's another guy with a double-digit hit streak right now. Where do you catch your breath, Earl, when you face this lineup?
Well, it starts with talent, but then the thing that is intimidating as a pitcher is that you have to continuously make quality pitches because they are grinding out quality at bats. And so during a game, you're feeling for certain pitches at times, and you're not always locked into your command. And this lineup really demands that. They can get you from anywhere, 1 through 8.
Arroyo drops down again and gets another strikeout.
They started over the top and finished him from the land down under almost, this side arm. And this is his curveball. And it will get charted by people charting pitches as a slider. But he holds all his breaking balls the same way. The reason they just change breaks is because of arm angle. So he'll change speeds and he'll change arm angle. But what's going on inside his glove as far as grip, it's just his curveball grip.
Here's Yadier Molina, the leading hitter in the National League, entering play today at .352. And Troy Tulowitzki's having an incredible year. Had another big game again today. He's one of Molina's teammates, Matt Carpenter. He's 5th in the National League in hitting, and Alan Craig is 9th. Molina has gone from a great defensive catcher who was an adequate offensive player early in his career to a great defensive catcher who's a great offensive player as well. Boy, some crazy hook on that ball. We had a chance to see it from our vantage point as it went out to center field. That's not the kind of spin you generally see when you're out in center field.
Yeah, that ball started off on Chu's left shoulder, and he turned to his left to run backwards and then had to turn back around because it hooked so much. I mean, that's a snap hook. Believe me, know about that, Dan.
Doesn't look like any fun. Good job out there by Chu, who Dusty Baker said has played excellent defense out there. Felt maybe the critics were on him a little bit too much early in the season. David Freese first pitch swinging. Kozar scooped by Votto to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. They go again against Arroyo. Of his Twitter, he's a social media animal, and he's good for the game. He's got a lot of personality, and he's not afraid to show it. And by the way, he's also a terrific hitter and a great defensive player as well.
He's a highlight film, no matter if he's on offense or defense. But I love to watch him play second base.
We saw two of the best in baseball last week at second base when we saw Dustin Pedroia, Robinson Cano firsthand. Now getting a chance to see Brandon Phillips, another guy who's terrific both ways. Bottom second, Reds up 2-0. Bottom third of the order, Zach Cozart, Ryan Hanigan, and Bronson Arroyo against Lance Lynn.
I can only say one thing about the social media now. I'm glad they didn't have it when I played.
You might have caused yourself a problem or two.
You would think.
Yeah. You're doing very nicely without a 7-second delay up here, though. This is like week 12, and you're cruising.
Give it time, Dan.
Big swing and a foul off 0-2 on Cozart, the Cincinnati shortstop. Let's go down to Buster.
Guys, I talked to Brandon Phillips about all his work on Twitter, and the only player in baseball who's ahead of him is Nick Swisher, and he's told Swisher, I'm going to catch you. Now, the reason why Swisher got into it initially was because he had a contest with actor Ashton Kutcher about who could get to 1 million first, and now Brandon feels like that Swisher lost that he can catch up.
So answer me this, Buster. Who has more followers, Brandon Phillips or you?
He's got me by about 170,000.
All right, well,
I'm about 700,000. He's about 880,000.
All right, well, let's go, folks. Let's give Buster a little push here. Runs in and hits Cozart.
That's a two-seamer, just runs in on Cozart's right in his midsection. But yeah, Lance Lynn has thrown rarely any breaking balls. Why would you open up for that pitch? That's the thing. We watched a college game today. Kid got hit in the head with a pitch. Yeah, I don't think kids now know how to get out of the way of a ball. I mean, that's a ball that right there you have to turn the other way and let it hit you in the back instead of the front. That's a lost art in the game of baseball, is how to get out of the way of a pitch thrown at you.
It's a real subtle move by Molina behind the plate, checking on Cozart, but also positioning his body between himself and his pitcher to see if there was any anger, and he would have been the divider. He didn't just stay back behind the plate and just watch.
Ryan Hanigan is the batter, the Cincinnati catcher. Hitting just 185 on the season. Neither one of these teams runs very much. They are the bottom two in the National League in stolen bases on the season. Cozart doesn't have one. Maybe a play. You're always a little more comfortable, Crucky, running down the lines in your own ballpark because you know exactly how far you have to go.
Yeah, you do. But this is their third game here. Yeah. They should have a good idea. But sometimes you forget about the tarp, and that thing comes on you pretty quick. Sometimes, not that I was ever quick enough to get to it, but I've seen people do it, and it didn't look like it felt too good.
Nice crowd tonight here at Great American Ballpark. The Reds and the Cardinals, undoubtedly one of the best rivalries in baseball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Cardinals, of course, have had just a great run of success. They've made the postseason 9 of the last 13 years. They've won a couple of World Series during that time. Cincinnati's been to the postseason 2 of the last 3 years, but have lost in the division series each time. Looking to take that next step, maybe 1 or 2 more. And both teams certainly with the talent to do it.
And last year had to be demoralizing for the Reds, losing 3 games here, and they go to San Francisco and win 2, and then come here thinking all we have to do is win 1 more, and they lose 3 in a row.
Now the Johnny Cueto injury that kind of turned their rotation a little bit upside down in that best of 5.
And Barry Zito, masterful.
Yep. Lance Lynn, an 18-game winner last year after coming up as a reliever 2 years ago. A guy who lost 40 pounds from last year to this year. Mike Matheny feeling it's going to give him a chance to have not only a better year, a better career, just more fit, healthier, more stamina. Ground ball to third off the body of Freese. Everybody's safe.
Well, the one thing about the Reds in the first inning, you look at their at-bats. 0-2 to Shin-Soo Choo. He takes a two-seamer, down and away, hits a double to left field. Robinson bunts. Votto aggressive in the count when they threw him strikes, trying to drive that run in. He ends up on the 3-2 pitch, taking a walk from Lynn. 0-2 pitch to Phillips. Don't try to pull it. Bloop it to right field. Now you got another first and third situation. Jay Bruce, first pitch out over the plate. That's where you want to look for it if you want to hit a sac fly. He hits one to dead center to Jay. Sac fly. That's why it's 2-0 Reds right now.
Here's Bronson Arroyo, already 7 sacrifices this season. Fair ball. Lead runner. Double play. And Arroyo generally a guy who executes better than that, but he bunts into a double play.
Yeah, Arroyo, tremendous athletic ability, handles the bat very, very well. Just got this one a little bit too thin, and Yadi Molina jumped right out. Remember, home plate is fair, and because he said that ball was fair and goes from the point of home plate down to the bag. Fair ball, and a nice release by David Freese, setting his feet up and getting it across there to Diamond for a double play. Quick like a cat, hop out there and get it while it's still fair. Started that double play.
So 2 down, a runner at second, and back to the top of the order for Choo, who doubled and scored in the first. Lifts a fly ball to center field. And the inning is over. We'll have a Baseball Tonight update for you, including action ongoing between the Twins and Nationals out of this break. 2-0 lead on the Cardinals, trying to make it 2 in a row over the Cardinals and move within 2 games of the division lead. So far this year, St. Louis is 5-3 against Cincinnati. They've still got 10 games left against one another. The Cardinals and Pirates, by the way, still have 14 games left against one another, and all of them come after the 29th of July. Bronson Arroyo pitching well, but could not get a bunt down. Cost the Reds an opportunity to add to their lead. He'll face Descalso, Jay, and Lynn here in the third. And Descalso getting a start at shortstop tonight. Just a night off for Pete Cosmo.
That's one of those get me over 63-mile-an-hour heaters. That's amazing.
Phillips to Votto, 1 down. More Major League action coming your way this week on ESPN. Tomorrow at 7, an American League East Division matchup between the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays, presented by USAA. Wednesday night at 8, it'll be the Indians and the Rangers, presented by T-Mobile. And 1 week from tonight, we will be in Atlanta as the Braves host the Giants. Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. And all 3 games also available live on Watch ESPN. Here's John Jay. He's now 8 for 8. Arroyo is on first pitch strikes. Would you rather face a guy who you know is going to give you 95-mile-an-hour heat, or a guy who's going to try to mess with you like Arroyo does with everything that he changes?
I would rather face anyone but Bronson Arroyo, really? I think, right? Yeah, because you saw the 63-mile-an-hour get me over. You know, a lot of guys say, well, I'm going to throw a get me over curveball, and they'll just flip one up there. Bronson does that with his fastball. You know, 63 here, just I'm going to throw it, and you know, there's no way you can sit back long enough and hit it because you have your adrenaline going, and you know you want to try to hit a ball in the gap or a home run. You think a guy throws that slow, you'd be able to wait and be patient. You can't. And you just jump at everything, it seems like, and then the Cardinal hitters are doing that right now.
Yeah, you look at changing speeds. He's going 27 miles an hour from 90, you know, down to 63. It's tremendous.
And you see some funny swings
with
and some funny
command.
takes with a lot of command. He's only walked 13 batters all season.
Wait, he's hit 90
tonight.
Wow. I thought he could only do that in his car, and he better not do that.
But he'll tell you he can only go to 90 when the fans are going, a little adrenaline or real fresh in the beginning of the game.
Where would that have hit Jay if he didn't hit that?
Right in the belt buckle.
Yeah, it would have. I mean, that's like a little frisbee coming in. Starts out in the right-hand hitter's batter's box and comes right at your belly button.
Jay goes the other way. A ground ball base hit. Let's go down to Buster Olney.
You guys were talking about Bronson Arroyo's velocity. It's been amazing the last 7 or 8 years. He's been able to maintain it in part because he maintains a workout regimen. This actually started when he was a kid. His father, Gus, worked with him when he was a kid on lifting weights. This is something that he continued to do as an adult. He's someone, even to this day, and you see him here when he was 8 doing that deadlift, he actually continues to do it. He'd work a punching bag. That's what you hear from Reds pitching coach Brian Price, that even today, Bronson Arroyo very diligent about his workout, guys, from a young age.
Lance Lynn shows bunt, takes a strike. Now, Bronson Arroyo is not a guy you think about when you think about weightlifters in the major leagues. He's not exactly built like Matt Holliday or anything, but there he is deadlifting at the age of 8. And maybe the workout regimen he has, guys, is one of the reasons he's been, as you can see, one of the most durable pitchers in baseball over the last 8 years.
He's been one of the foundation pieces, if not the foundation piece, of this Cincinnati Reds pitching staff since it turned around. Himself and Aaron Harang when they first came over here. And you see he has had the most in the National League in W's, and that's not only the quality of his pitches, but the fact that he takes the ball every 5th day. Last, was it 7 or 8 years, Dan? 200 innings, all but 1 year?
Yeah, and the other one was 199.
Yep.
1-2 the count on Lynn. Still looking to bunt with 2 strikes.
And the thing I like about Bronson is Oro. He's a guy that if they need him to go deep in the game, even if he's getting hit around, he'll take that for the team to save the bullpen for the next day. And that's a veteran. That's a guy who doesn't care about what his numbers are. It's just what's best for our team today.
Gets it down with 2 strikes on him. And Lynn, the sacrifice, will advance Jay to second, 2 down. Bronson Arroyo is now 36 years of age. He was originally selected by the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1995. Made his debut with the Pirates in 2000. Was a member of the Red Sox World Series champions in 2004. Traded to Cincinnati for Willie Mo Pena. He's been here ever since, and he likes his music almost as much as he likes his baseball. Free agent at the end of the year. But with the way he keeps himself in shape, Worrell, and with the kind of pitcher he's evolved into, even at 36, you certainly think he's got a few more years ahead of him.
I think he'll pitch into his 40s if he wants to. He says really in his quotes that he does not want to kind of fade out of the game. He wants to go out a productive pitcher. So we'll see, but definitely productive for another year or 2.
Two down, a runner at second, 2-0 Reds, top of the 3rd. And another first pitch strike.
68.
Well, some people say he's a right-handed Jamie Moore, but I disagree with that because he can touch 90 miles an hour. I think that he has a full range. He might not have the ability to go deep in the game and really try and live around 90, but he can at least show the hitters that he has it.
I think Matt Carpenter's thinking to himself what John Kruk said a few minutes ago. Right now, I'd like to face just about anybody other than Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah, I mean, your guy at second base, young hitter, you're amped up to try to drive in this run, to make it a 1-run game and get your team, on the board, to try to get the rest of the offense going. And Bronson throws 2 slow balls to him. Hey, if you can't hit it, don't swing.
They went click, leg kick, quick look at second, and then throws kind of a eephus curveball there, trying to backdoor. Doesn't make it back, but there was a lot of strategy to it. They're asking right now about a possible quick pitch.
Well, I think Mike Matheny might be arguing that's the same pitch you called him out on the first at bat.
And remember, as we documented in the first inning, no love lost between Mike Matheny and Phil Cuzzi after an argument at the conclusion of last night's game.
And a great job by Jose Akendo to come down and get in between Cuzzi and Matheny right there before Matheny could get run out of this game.
Deep right. Bruce the catch up against the wall. The ballpark holds it, and it remains 2-0. Like Matheny and home plate umpire Phil Cuzzi. Matheny did not get run. They agreed to disagree, I think, on whatever the matter is, and we'll keep an eye on that over the rest of the ball game as we get back to the action here. Bottom of the third, the Reds leading the Cardinals 2-0. And it'll be Derek Robinson, Joey Votto, and Brandon Phillips for Cincinnati, facing Lance Lynn. Robinson with a sacrifice his first time up, as we mentioned, trying to make his mark with Ryan Ludwig still out. Maybe August 1st for Ludwig, who suffered a shoulder injury, underwent surgery, suffered the injury on opening day. Dusty Baker was lamenting, you know, when Ludwig was in there, the lineup set up so nicely, left, right, left, right, left, right. They had to juggle a little bit without Ludwig, and he's an RBI guy. And they're feeling his loss. Not getting a ton of production out of left field. Joey Votto on deck. Walked and scored back in the first. Shu doubled and scored. Reds lead 2-0.
Pretty good take for a young fellow up there at the plate that can run and has been having some good at bats. I think the more takes like that and at bats like this, if he grinds it out, he's going to get a lot of opportunity up here. Got a great guy hitting behind him to learn how to hit, I'll tell you that. He's a switch hitter at the plate, Robinson. But Votto, he let that ball get deep on him right there. He didn't chase. That's a Joey Votto example role model right there, the way he went about that.
Yeah, he takes pitches as close as Votto takes pitches. They're going to ring him up. You know how that goes.
Close play at first, but Robinson out. Let's take a look now at Hot Zone, brought to you by T-Mobile, as Joey Votto comes to the plate. And there it is against righties. Two things to note. One is when he swings at strikes, he does an incredible job. And two is how few squares there are outside the strike zone, because if there aren't a certain number of plate appearances, you don't get any kind of a square. So what that shows, guys, is he hardly ever swings at balls outside the zone.
And if he does, it's fouled it off and has not put him in play. There's no result other than a foul strike. The biggest impression I have already is just his knowledge of the strike zone just in the first two at bats and that first pitch of the second at bat. It's absolutely amazing the edge pitches he takes it.
And it looks, you see how quickly he recognizes the pitch too.
Yeah.
That pitch was a breaking ball. You know, you don't know how much it's going to break down. As soon as he left his hand, he took his stride, and that was it. There was no other movement because he knew it was going to be a ball out of his hand. Turn him loose 3-0, I would. In this ballpark, well, it's blowing in, so I don't know, but I would.
And they did. Fouls it back 3-1.
And look at the one he offers that center cut on live K-Zone right there.
Wind blowing in from left center field here in Cincinnati, but it is still a hitter's ballpark. One of the great launching pads there is in the majors. Out of play, 3-2. Votto, the National League MVP in 2010, had the knee surgery last year. Cost him some time, cost him his power toward the end of last season. He has 10 home runs this year. He's hitting .325. That is 6th in the National League. Fights one off in on his hands at 3-2.
Better check Molina's hand, see if it's okay. I think Votto just took that ball out of his mitt. I mean, look how deeply he lets this ball get, because he's trying to protect against every pitch with 2 strikes. And look how far back that ball is. It's almost even with his body before he slices it over the Cardinals dugout.
Takes inside, ball 4 as he walks for the second time tonight.
Lance Lynn and Joey Votto, it's going to be a battle all night. Lance Lynn has tried to use his fastball and just spot it to get him out. Used the breaking ball here to start out all the way on the edges, but then here comes the fastball as he gets back into the count from 3-0. He starts working the middle of the plate and starts beating Votto to the spots, but when he finally has to go all the way to the edge to make him miss, that's when he misses just enough inside, and Votto draws another walk. Professional pitching against a professional at bat, and I'll tell you what, the batter won right there.
He's seen 15 pitches in his first 2 plate appearances. He's walked both times. And here's Phillips, who had a bloop RBI single in the first.
If it moves forward, he's hacking, isn't he? Seen 4 pitches and 4 swings. He talks about his forearm getting hit by that pitch in the forearm and how it bothers him. And couldn't tell by as many swings as he takes at it.
Either end of the spectrum on philosophy here, with Votto at first and him at the plate.
But I mean, he swung at strikes, except the ball that he got the base hit on was a ball outside that he blooped to right field.
Another throw to first to drive Votto back. Votto with 2 stolen bases on the season.
Better keep an eye on him. Don't want him to get his 3rd.
Lance Lynn's only given up 1 stolen base his last 16 starts, but I think that has more to do with Molina behind the plate.
Pops him up. Descalso, the shortstop, to make the catch, 2 down. So Votto back to first, 2 down, and the batter will be Jay Bruce. Bruce with a sacrifice fly, his 41st RBI on the season. That came back in the first inning.
Well, one thing Bruce knows, with all the stats that are out there, is that Lance Lynn throws about 70% fastballs. So the Reds have been a little bit more aggressive with Lynn on the mound tonight than sometimes they are. Those 70% fastballs, sometimes you'll get the 4-seamer, sometimes you get the 2-seamer. This year a few more 2-seamers, so when he's backed into fastball counts, at least he's got a little movement on it. But he can touch 95, 96 with the 4-seamer up.
Now, is Molina just giving him a 1, whether it's the 4-seamer or the 2-seamer? There's no different sign for those 2 fastballs, right?
Well, sometimes there may be if Molina wants a certain thing. So he'll put down a 1 and you can throw either one you want. But if he's going to go down and away and he's looking for the ground ball, he might circle the 1. If he's going to go up, he'll give him a little pat with the hand, kind of upward motion. And then you know it's going to be the 4-seamer. Hannigan and Arroyo on the other side, they go just 1 and 2. And Hannigan just says, throw whatever you want.
Ripped into right field, a base hit. Votto on his way to third and out. didn't slide and is thrown out to end the inning. One more look going to break. Strange ending to this inning as Votto might have gotten decoyed for some reason, didn't slide, and the inning is over. We go to the top of the fourth. Joey Votto out at third, trying to go first to third on a base hit with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. And we'll get a chance to show you a replay from a couple of angles as time allows and try to figure out what happened on that play. It was Carlos Beltran who threw out Votto to lead off the fourth for the Cardinals. It's Chris Spire on the right there along with Dusty Baker. Spire is the acting third base coach right now for the Cincinnati Reds. Mark Berry, the normal third base coach, is in the ballpark but not coaching right now. He has undergone treatment for throat cancer and is currently recuperating from that. And we all, of course, send our best wishes for a full and speedy recovery to Mark Berry. So Chris Spire, who's normally the bench coach, filling in at third, and Miguel Cairo is the acting bench coach right now for the Reds. And the ball hit to deep center field and gone. Beltran with home run number 14, and the Cardinals are on the board.
He talked about the wind blowing in, and that was an elevated pitch by Bronson Arroyo on a changeup. And Carlos Beltran, normally a guy who likes to pull the ball, stays with it. Here's a pitch, a 3-1 pitch, and it's a changeup up in the strike zone. And even though you're not looking for it, you're probably looking for something a little hard. That's a pitch right there you just can't stop from hitting hard. A changeup up in the zone, and like I said, Beltran normally would pull that ball. He goes the other way with it, drove it right through that wind into right over Chu's head.
10th home run allowed this season by Arroyo, as Matt Holliday fouls one off into the upper deck. One of the things that Dusty Baker did tell us before the game, though, is the good thing about Arroyo. He doesn't walk many people, so most of those home runs are solo shots, and that was the case right there. Obviously a leadoff batter in the inning, but the point being is that Arroyo does not give you any freebies. Now here's Holliday hitting the ball deep left field, off the wall. Chu will corral it in left center. It is a double for Holliday.
One of the things about Bronson Arroyo, he's hard to manage because he can go quick. When you have borderline stuff and you're fooling hitters, and all of a sudden the second time around the order, maybe they start changing their approach and catching up to you. All of a sudden, wham and bam right here. Holliday turns right on this. I'll tell you what, the Reds got to feel like they've gotten punched in the gut, missing the first and second no-out opportunity. Arroyo bunting into a double play, and then last inning getting thrown out of third with Votto, and now you're in a 2-1 game, and it feels like the Cardinals are almost ahead the way this game's going right now.
And here's one of these situations with runner in scoring position that Matt Holliday talked about with Buster before the game, how adept they are going up the middle and the other way, and that's exactly with the runner on second, no outs, where Craig wants to hit this ball.
And the guy at the plate right now, Alan Craig, led the National League in batting with runners in scoring position last year at 400. And he's hitting .406 this year with runners in scoring position. Shallow center field, and Phillips goes a long way back and makes a very difficult play. I think he was expecting that Chu was going to get to that ball, and he didn't.
Well, in this ballpark and a lot of these newer ballparks where the ball carries, center fielder has to play a little deeper, and they can play really deep with the range of Brandon Phillips. He's made that play. I think he made one yesterday like that. He's just phenomenal, going over his shoulder like a wide receiver and making these plays. And, you know, that ball drops. Now you have a first and third situation. Instead, you have a runner on second. with one out, and it's going to take a base hit to score him.
Here's Molina. Shoots it down the right field line. Fair ball. Holiday will score on the double by Molina, and the Cardinals have tied it.
Well, this is the Cardinals' MO to a T, and that's another pitch up in the zone. When you don't have high velocity, you got to keep the ball down. He keeps that ball up in the zone, and Yadier Molina, that whole at bat, you look at the way his hands are set right there, how he's lagging the bat through the strike zone, trying to hit the ball the other way, and he shoots it down that right field line for a double and an RBI. That's pretty much the patented Cardinal way now, isn't it?
David Freese, the batter. We'll get back to the situation with Votto getting thrown out of third probably next half inning with this big rally going on now by the Cardinals. Want to stick with the action going on in the field right now. David Freese grounded out his first time up. Working on an 18-game hitting streak. Let's take a look now at Do More. Brought to you by Safeco, and the Cardinals, well, they just do more with runners in scoring position. It's an incredible number that as a team on the season, they are hitting .338 with runners in scoring position. I mean, nobody else is even close.
That's unbelievable. They hit .237 with the bases empty, so how do they get guys in scoring position?
Well, Friday night, as an example, they went 8 for 19. With runners in scoring position to help win 92. 3 strikes out, 2 down. So 2 down, 4th strikeout of the night for Arroyo, and the batter will be Daniel Descalso. Descalso can play second, short, third. Cardinals with 2 here in the top of the 4th to tie the game.
One of the first things you look at as a player if you're on the bench not playing, or you're watching this game, you watch Molina at second base and watch him staring at the signs and see if he's looking to give any signs to Descalso where this pitch may go.
Up the middle and off Arroyo. Staggers, steadies, and makes the play to get Descalso. Shaken up, though, as he hobbles off the field. And right down the steps and up the tunnel. We'll try to get you an update when we come back. Bell is brought to you by Lexus and their pursuit of perfection, and Lunesta Ezopiclone. Bottom 4 tied at 2. Time now for some FaceTime, brought to you by Edward Jones. Buster Olney with Cardinal manager Mike Matheny.
Mike, second time through the order, what was the adjustment your hitters made against Arroyo?
You know, he's a pitcher that knows what he's doing. He mixes up speeds and locations and tries to get you to expand the zone. I think they just were a little more patient and waiting for something to get into their power zone, something they were looking for.
We saw you talking to home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. What was that conversation about?
Some of the conversation was dealing with one of our hitters, kind of giving him a look. And, you know, we got to keep this thing moving, and we got to let things happen last night go. And we both get that, but also to make sure that the guys are getting a fair look up there.
Mike, thank you.
That's what you were saying earlier, Crucky, that you hope both sides let bygones be bygones from a night ago and keep this ball game moving.
Yeah, and you know, we mentioned about the umpires, you know, hopefully not holding a grudge, but you know, the players hold grudges too on what they think is a bad call, and then they think if they get the next night, if they get what they think is a bad call by the same umpire, they think, oh, what's going on here? We're never satisfied, Dan. Every call has to be our way.
Mike Matheny telling us a nice story before the game. And the Cardinals have had so much success this year, best record in baseball. He wrote a letter to the organization's minor league coaches, roving instructors, scouts, strength and conditioning coaches, you name it, basically thanking them, commending them for the work they've done throughout the organization, because so many young players have come up to the majors not only ready to play, but Mike Matheny talks about the character they have too, the way they've obviously been developed and brought up through the system. And so he wrote a letter that was sent basically to everybody in the organization, thanking them for contributing, because he says sometimes, guys, there's a disconnect between the minor league system and the major league team, and he wants to bridge that gap.
And then the big league staff helps cement that in, because they create almost a mentorship program up here where they encourage the veterans, and it's voiced that these guys should take care of the young guys. And the veterans verbally tell them that you could be the difference in our season no matter how long you're here.
Leadoff walk to Frazier. We got a lot of things going on in this game. Let's go back to last half inning, the play that ended the inning. The comebacker looks like off the right knee of Bronson Arroyo. Made the play but paid the price. And basically hopped off the field, took maybe 1 or 2 steps on that right leg. Runner was going as Kozar fouls it back.
Well, the good thing for Bronson Arroyo, if you're going to have a pitcher injure his leg and continue on, you'd rather it be the back leg than the front leg. That front leg takes more abuse and relays kind of the power up to your arm when you land. That back leg, you can kind of post up on it a little bit if it's injured and kind of fall down the hill a little bit more.
We saw Arroyo disappear down the steps and up the tunnel toward the dugout. He is not sitting on the dugout bench right now.
I'm sure they're trying to get some sort of ice and a compression wrap on that thing to try to keep it from swelling. Maybe he can go back out.
You know, Bronson, his character, he's going to do everything he can to get back out there.
Like what Dusty did the first pitch after Frazier walked. He puts a hit and run on with Kozar because he's been struggling with the bat, only hitting in the 230s, trying to create a hole, or if he's going to make an out, let's make a productive out and get a guy to second base.
One and two. Got to be alert as a base runner down there too, because Molina's liable to snap a throw down to first. He doesn't just throw him out going to second. He throws him out trying to get back to first.
And that's usually the one he does it on. As he gets a lefty, he'll throw a pitch up and in to knock the lefty off the plate to give him that room to throw to first base. And against a righty, they'll throw that fastball up and away, so his momentum's taking him toward first, make a quicker throw. I used to hate those guys. Look at that.
He's picking it like a first baseman.
I mean,
he's the best.
Technically, he did that wrong.
Right.
He didn't scoot over. He didn't slide over and try to block it. But he's so gifted with the glove that he can do that. Like, that's not the way you teach a kid to catch a ball away that's bouncing away from you.
And a swing and a miss by Kozar. All right, let's go back about an inning now and try to revisit that Joey Votto play when he was thrown out of third.
Well, a lot of things went wrong here for the Cincinnati Reds. Now, Joey Votto gets a good secondary lead. He's come around. Now, look at Chris Spire, third base coach. He's holding him up. Joey Votto runs right through it, and then all he does is point. Now, I don't know what the red signs are for a third base, but you look at Chris Spire right there, third base coach. All he's doing is pointing. Now, I know when I played, my third base coach, when he pointed, that means stay on the base. Stand on the base, you're in. Or they would raise their left hand and point to the base. That means stop on the base. If you want a guy to slide, you emphatically, with both hands, tell them slide, you know, which side, inside or out. Most of the time, a third base coach is on the ground. That emphatic, that I need you to slide right here in order to be safe. And none of that happened.
And as we mentioned earlier, Chris Spire filling in for Mark Berry, who is recuperating from treatment for throat cancer. So Spire, who's normally the bench coach, is the interim third base coach right now.
And it could have confused Joey Votto, but when in doubt, slide. If there's any doubt whatsoever, if you don't know where the ball is and you've lost sight of the ball and your third base coach is giving you any sign, you're better off just sliding.
0-2. Meanwhile, out on deck is Bronson Arroyo. So he's okay evidently, or at least well enough to stay in the game. Comebacker hit him right square on the outside of the right knee.
There ain't a lot of meat there, Dan.
No.
I mean, not on anybody, not just Bronson, but not any person.
Doesn't really look like there's a wrap under there. I mean, he's got loose, baggy pants, but I don't see any extra. Might have a sleeve.
I wonder if Buster can get an interview with him right now and ask him.
Interview his knee.
0-2 to Hannigan.
That knee's barking right now. That's all I get out of that one.
Buster's right there. He's within earshot.
Just ask him, Buster. Bronson's a great guy. He'll talk to you.
You can see the top of Buster's head. That's Buster right there. There he is. Just
only the best seats for him.
And strike 3 called. Hannigan thought it was high.
Well, Dave Duncan was a former pitching coach to the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinal way is really established by Dave with 2 seamers down and keeping the ball down and away with good movement. Lance Lynn has adopted into that. Derek Lilliquist, now the pitching coach, has theory with that, but Mike Matheny has let them go up the ladder a little bit more with the guys that can get above 92, 93 miles an hour.
2-2 tie, bottom 4, 2 outs, and here's Arroyo.
And normally a leadoff walk spells disaster, but Lance Lynn's come back with 2 big strikeouts. Now he has the pitcher up to get out of this inning.
And Arroyo is bunting and pops it up to end the inning. And all kinds of things going on here tonight. American Ballpark, time for some FaceTime now, brought to you by Edward Jones, Buster Olney with Dusty Baker.
Dusty, what happened to Bronson Arroyo on that play?
On that ball back to the middle, it hit him on the side of the knee, and you know, when he hits you like that on bone directly like that, it goes kind of numb. So we were a little bit concerned, but he said it feels fine now, and he got the life back in it.
What happened on that play with Joey Votto at third base when he was thrown out?
Well, I mean, you know, that was a play where Chris had held Joey initially, but Joey thought he could make it, and then when he got there, you know, it was sort of I don't know. I hate to place blame on anybody, but Chris said he didn't tell him to slide or stand up.
Dusty, thanks.
So it's been a sloppy night, let's be honest, for the Cincinnati Reds. Arroyo, who's generally a good bunter, can't get it down, bunts into a double play in the second inning. In the third inning, Votto was thrown out at third to end the inning. Miscommunication one way or the other between Chris Spire and Joey Votto. And then in the just completed bottom of the fourth, with 2 outs and a runner at first, Arroyo tries to bunt and pops it up to end the inning.
And it looked like Bronson did not know how many outs there were because he was looking at the man at first like, why are you running? You're going to get doubled up. And then all of a sudden he ducked his head back in the dugout and got back ready to get the pitch.
And a base hit up the middle for John Jay, who's 2 for 2. So Arroyo's had 2 strange at-bats, has been hit hard by a comebacker off his knee. Was great through 3, then gave up a home run and a couple of runs in the 4th. And now with a 2-2 tie in the 5th.
And getting that 8th hitter, the leadoff hitter on base is huge. Now you can get Lynn to get him over. Now you have the top of the order coming up to try to drive in that run with 1 out.
Will Lynn be bunting? He did his first time up. Takes a strike. Now Brandon Phillips, the second baseman, had come all the way over within about 3 feet of first base. He was standing behind first base. And Lance Lynn didn't show bunt. I mean, he literally, Oral, had the whole right side of the infield to try to hit a ball through.
That was interesting because he didn't show bunt, but yet he got a fastball right down the middle and didn't swing.
Yeah.
But then he looked down at first base like maybe someone missed a sign.
It'd be interesting to see if Bronson Arroyo can hop off the mound if there is a bunt.
Pitch out.
Just after getting hit on the leg there.
This is the first pitch. Watch Phillips. He's getting ready to cover first. Lynn doesn't bunt, doesn't swing.
It's like the nickel defense.
We've seen some
double
strange
teaming the guy on first.
Bunted foul. Lynn got a sacrifice down with 2 strikes on him back in the 3rd inning. We'll see if he tries to do it again here in the 5th.
I don't know who he's talking to, but I don't think he cares.
Frazier still weighing at 3rd. And Lynn gets it down. Arroyo to 2nd in time.
And he had to plant on that right leg to throw that ball to 2nd. And it didn't give way, and he stayed through the pain, or it's functioning really well. That bunt's hard back to the mound, and Bronson just doesn't give in to the pain or the speed of the game, and he plants on the right leg and quick snap throw from down under. Remember, he throws from all arm angles from the mound, so that doesn't make this a problem. Nice plant, push the weight, get going towards 2nd. Accurate throw.
Good athlete, good fielder. Runner at first, 1 out, and the batter was Matt Carpenter, 0 for 2. Working on a 17-game hitting streak. David Freese came in with an 18-gamer. Neither has a hit yet tonight.
And now the bad thing is you got Lance Lynn running the bases, which I'm not saying he's not capable of running the bases. It's just you'd rather have your pitcher back in the dugout with a runner on 2nd. Well, he hit that breaking ball, the last at bat to the fence in right field, and Jay Bruce made the great catch on it. Bronson says, you know what, I'm going to see about this couple pitches hard in here and see if he can turn on that one. And so far, he hasn't been able to pull the trigger. Now, do you go away now or go in again and then away, World?
I keep coming back in. Really convince them that's where you're going, but they are going away. Going back to the backdoor breaking ball. Baseball's such a gray game because Bronson is out there and he's got, 3 pitches right now. He's got the fastball, the curveball, and the changeup, but he can throw so many and so many different varieties with the arm angles. So you talk to him, he'd say, well, if I throw 15 pitches an inning, I might go with 4 different arm angles and 3 different pitches.
Uh-oh. I thought he might come in on that pitch 1 and 2 after he showed him slow away. Now he showed him slow away again. So that if I'm Carpenter, I might be cheating a little bit or conscious of the pitch in.
And here it comes. Missed down and in, 3 and 2.
That's what stinks as a hitter. You're guessing right. And he throws a pitch. It's off the plate. Now it's 3-2. Now you got to regroup. And okay, now what will he throw? And it's going to be interesting to see if Matheny sends Lance Lynn because Votto's playing behind him. 3-2 pitch. Why not send him? You feel Carpenter can put it in play, send him.
Not going, and it's fouled off.
And he came back to the fastball. He didn't go for the backdoor breaking ball.
So Arroyo now starting to face these Cardinal hitters for the 3rd time through the lineup. 2-2 tie here in the 5th. To center field. Shu makes the catch. 2 down. And that'll bring up Carlos Beltran, who last time up got a changeup up and away out of the strike zone and hammered it to left center. They have certainly got their money's worth out of him over the last couple of years. That's his 14th home run of the season. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
I'm Beltran right here. First pitch, I'm looking for something middle in. Bronson threw him that changeup that was up in the zone, but it was away, and he hit it the other way. He did it again.
And he hit it well again. Not quite well enough. Derek Robinson with a leaping catch in left center to end the inning. Robinson with a terrific catch to end the top of the fifth. Nice catch by Derek Robinson, the left fielder, to win the top half of the inning. Dusty Baker telling us that his game plan right now with Robinson is to play him against an opposing lefty, to get him to bat from the right side, or with Bronson Arroyo on the mound, because he says Arroyo gives up a lot of fly balls, and he doesn't want Arroyo to have to get 4 outs in an inning. And it paid off tonight. Robinson making a terrific catch. Robinson on deck. Shin-Soo Choo will lead off the inning. Doubled and scored in the first. Flied out to center in the second. Lance Lynn 8-1 on the season. 8-1 in fact for the second year in a row. Wound up 18-7 last year. Part of a terrific St. Louis rotation. They have by far the best numbers, the best ERA of any rotation in the National League. As Choo bangs one into right field, a base hit. He's 2 for 3. The Cardinal rotation led by Adam Wainwright. They've got the most wins in the National League. They've got easily the best ERA in the National League. The most strikeouts in the National League. And the most complete games as well. Adam Wainwright's got a 2.34 ERA. Get a load of this, Earl. He's got 9 wins. He's issued 7 walks this year. One of them is intentional. So 6 unintentional walks and 91 strikeouts in 96 innings for Adam Wainwright.
And he's the unofficial leader of this pitching staff. The Cardinals have a great tradition, and I think passes on knowledge.
The pitch hits Robinson. 2 men on for the Reds.
This is fastball inside, and Robinson tries to get out of the way up, just doesn't move quite quick enough. You see his foot is actually out of the batter's box, kind of pulls it back, and because he says that it grazed him. A lot of times a big league hitter will sell it a lot more than that. I'm not so sure that grazed him at all.
But part of his leg was actually behind the plate. It was out of the batter's box, as you said. So.
You can be, as long as you don't get the ball into fair territory, you can get out of the batter's box.
So 2 men on, nobody out, and here's Joey Votto.
If that ball would have been over the plate in the strike zone, he gets hit, you can get called back for sure, not hit. Rarely do you see that call.
And it's 0-2.
Well, if there's anybody in the big leagues that's comfortable hitting 0-2, it's Joey Votto. With his knowledge of the strike zone, the way he put the barrel on it.
And those are pretty tough pitches. The first one's down and away. That one's down and in. Mixing up the fastball pretty good right here with Votto.
Swing and a miss to get him. A big out for Lance Lynn.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Away, in, and attempt at getting in, but it ran back over the middle of the plate, or at least the inner half. You go there on the black outside, then you come back inside, have it run and make him do a little limbo, and then you come right back in there, but you get too much to plate. We would consider that a mistake if Votto would have barreled it up, but he beat him to the spot.
One down in the inning, and now Brandon Phillips, 1 for 2, had an RBI single in the first. The Reds 2 in the first, the Cardinals 2 in the fourth. The Reds trying to retake the lead here in the bottom of the fifth. Right center, but playable for Jay. 2 down. Chu will tag and come to third as the throw comes into second. So it'll be up to Jay Bruce.
First and second, no out, and Lynn has gone with 4 fastballs, and he's gotten 2 outs. What a contrast in styles in the 2 starting pitchers tonight. Bronson Arroyo has to throw every pitch from every angle and try and surprise you and fake you out. And then you got Lance Lynn on the mound just pounding 90 to 93 mile-an-hour fastballs, 4 seams and 2 seams, barely throwing his changeup and rarely throwing a breaking ball.
Yeah, I think this is a situation here with the runner on first and the hole open that he's going to stay with that 2-seamer to keep Bruce from pulling that ball in that hole and getting the, well, what people call a cheap single and driving a run.
Wow. He's making some pitches.
He sure is. And his low arm angle, you don't see this very often. A guy have such great command to their glove side. So inside to a lefty, away to a righty with that low arm angle. A lot of times that ball has a tendency to leak back over the plate with guys who have this low arm angle that Lynn throws with. There's the one you can hit, John. That's the one that leaks back over.
Yeah, if it wasn't 0-2, Bruce might have had a better swing on that ball, but 0-2, you don't know what pitch is coming. You're trying to protect. If he was ahead in the count, this ball might have been hit really hard. But
you see where Molina sets up in there, and you see, watch the glove just kind of leak back towards the middle, and that's.
Whew. Ball was just by him a little bit, and he couldn't quite get that top hand over to it.
Got one guy in Arroyo who throws about 43% fastballs this year, according to the numbers we've gotten, and a guy in Lynn who throws almost 80% fastballs.
Yeah. Well, he can live with it. He came out of the bullpen with a lot of gas, and then when he went into the rotation, he lived with the pitch that brought him here, and he's continued even as the league knows that's what's coming. He shows you how well he hides it and the life he's got on it.
Just missed.
So the one that's been coming back from that inside corner is the 2-seamer, and that right there is a 4-seamer that kind of keeps it straight.
Bruce, a sac fly and a base hit. Hitting .272. He struck out 77 times. Only Dan Uggla has struck out more in the National League this year. Well, he's fouling him off.
4. The reason the 4-seamer goes straight is because the 4 seams cut the air and it goes through the air smoother and stays straighter. But 2 seams, you get more cowhide, more flat part of the ball coming through it. So that resistance of the air then makes the ball tail.
Chu at third, Robinson at first, 2 down. Full count.
Well, this pitch right here is going to tell you what he thinks of his ability to get Todd Frazier, the on-deck hitter, off. If he throws him a 3-2 breaking ball and walks him, that means he thinks, I can get Frazier. I'm not going to give Bruce something he can handle right here. It's either going to be a fastball off the plate that he chases, or it's going to be a breaking ball to try to trick him, if he thinks he can get Frazier out. And anything in the gap's going to score Robinson because he's off and running.
Fouled off. So we'll see the 9th pitch of this battle between Lance Lynn and Jay Bruce. Robinson going again, and it is lined down the right field line. And 2 runs are going to score. The double by Bruce gives the Reds a 4-2 lead.
Fastball again, but he keeps this one in. It's a quality pitch, but he's lived in there, and Bruce is kind of ready for it. Drops the head of the bat on it, pulls it. The Cardinals elected to play Craig behind Robinson at first, and still even playing deep and behind. The reaction time still not there with the leaping ability. He's holding him on 3-2, trying to keep Robinson close. They played the defense, but Bruce still beat the defense, and Robinson scored easily as he cycles those bases.
There's another play at third base with third base coach Chris Spire, where, Bruce was at the base and he's, almost stopped, and he's telling him to come on. He thought he could make it to third.
Well, you don't want to get 2 guys thrown out of third to win the same game.
He would have made it. I think he would have made it, but Bruce wasn't getting a sign, and the ball's behind you. You don't know where the ball is, and he wasn't getting a sign from Chris Spire, and he got it too late, so he had to retreat, which is very smart by Jay Bruce.
0-2 the count on Todd Frazier.
Anyone who's ever coached third, if you haven't been out there for a while, I tried it in the minor leagues. Oh my gosh, it's scary.
And the inning is over, but a big 2-out hit by Jay Bruce, and the Reds have a 2-run lead. The National League Central is an awfully competitive division right now. Is this year the Pirates can sustain a good first half, stay over 500, and maybe even wind up a playoff team? They are getting it done, guys, with pitching. Specifically their bullpen, which has the best ERA in the National League, but they've got some good stories in the rotation as well. Francisco Liriano's pitching very well. A.J. Burnett's having a good season. Jason Grilli leads the majors in saves with 23. And the Pirates are right there. 3.5 back of the Cardinals and just a half game back of the Reds for second place in the National League Central. Pittsburgh, even with the loss today, 37-26. 3 of the 4 best records in the National League are in the Central. Remember, with 2 wild cards, you can get 3 teams from one division all in the playoffs.
And these head-to-head series with Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, St. Louis is why this is so important. That this could be determined by 1 game at the end. I think even Mike Matheny realized that, a 3-team race, and that's why he was so mad at Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire, with the call last night, with the foot possibly off the bag, and cost the Cardinals an opportunity to win a game. And that kind of filtered into tonight, some anger, but it seemed to have gotten it solved so far. Pirates get a lot of love kind of mid-season, and then they disappoint the city and the organization and a lot of people around baseball when they have faltered the last couple of years, last month and a half or so. Could this be the year they could hold on?
inside 2-2. Got a couple of teams really struggling in the NL Central, and the Cubs and the Brewers. So the top three get a chance to play a whole lot of games against the Cubs and the Brewers. Then again, you look at the National League East, you got some weak teams in that division as well, the Mets and the Marlins. You can see the NL Central standings. And as the pitch is outside 3-2, might be tougher to get a wild card team out of the National League West, because even though the Dodgers are struggling and Padres are under 500, you don't have any really bad teams right now in the National League West. You can't really fatten up on anybody to the extent that you might be able to in the other two divisions. Ball 4. Well, not only do they have the best bullpen ERA in the National League on the season, they have the best starters ERA since May the 1st. As mentioned, Jason Grilli do an outstanding job as the closer for the Pirates, and the Pirates have done very well within their own division. As we told you earlier, they've only played 5 games against the Cardinals so far this year. Between late July and mid-September, the two teams play each other 14 times, St. Louis and Pittsburgh, including a 5-game series in August, necessitated by a rainout earlier this year. Last time the Pirates finished over 500, 1992.
I said it a couple weeks ago too. I think Russell Martin's going to make a huge difference on this team. He's one of those no nonsense grinder type guys, and I think that's what the Pirates have lacked the last few years.
Alan Craig skies one into foul territory for Todd Frazier. 1 down. Now Molina doubled in a run his last time up, the National League's leading hitter and public enemy number 1 here in Cincinnati.
Tell you what, if he wasn't any good, they wouldn't be booing him.
That's right.
They don't boo bad players.
That was Reggie Jackson's line. They don't boo nobody.
Yeah.
Reggie would know he wasn't a nobody, and he did get booed. Molina slams the ball into right field again. That's a base hit. Holiday to second. Molina 2 for 3.
What a swing. That was just a great approach. The whole looked like the whole front side was closed for Molina, and that he was going to right field right there. Look at the front shoulder, the front hip, the front knee. It's all tucking in, staying closed, get the foot down, read the pitch, and drive it to right field.
Guys, they have 6 hits tonight. 5 of them have been up the middle or the other way.
Well, and that's the approach right there that you take against a guy who can't throw the ball by you. And Bronson can't throw it by you, so you can get off the plate, you can dive and try to shoot everything that way, and that's what Molina did.
David Freese, the batter, has struck out and grounded out.
Problem was he hit it too hard to get Holiday to third. I hate when that happens.
Arroyo did not throw that pitch anywhere near where he wanted to. It was designed to be on the outside edge, and it missed inside.
Sometimes you don't get this call even though it's a strike because you miss so bad, and K-Zone had it as a strike. Cuzzy behind the plate? Nope. No reward when you miss the target by that far.
It's a strike, it's a strike.
I know.
I don't care how much he moved his glove, but it does fool the umpire.
Yep.
Right in the middle of the plate with that one, and Freese upset with himself. He knows he missed an opportunity to do some damage. Did Arroyo get away with one, Oral?
Yeah, I think he put this one on the tee for him. That's a hanging breaking ball.
You could see Freese slam down the bat. He knows he got one.
Just a little out in front of it, hit it off the end of the bat and couldn't get any carry on it.
So 2 down, 2 on, 2-run deficit for the Cardinals, and the batter was Daniel Descalso. Now to play 1-1. Activity now in the Cincinnati pen. Alfredo Simon, used to be pronounced Simone, but he has changed his desired pronunciation to Simon as of last year. He is now up in the pen. Another funky swing from a Cardinal hitter.
Oh, another funky delivery by Bronson Arroyo. The master of invention at the last second, isn't it, Oral?
He has a feel for the game, and he'll tell you that, you know, I throw one pitch and fool them, and the next time I throw the same exact pitch, they get a hit. But I'm just hoping I can keep the odds in my favor and get them off of me.
Ground ball to first. Hitting over. Arroyo gets out of it. The Reds still lead. John Kruk, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, and the rest of the Sunday Night Baseball gang. Glad you're with us tonight at Great American Ballpark. Rubber match of this 3-game series between 2 contending teams out of the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Zach Cozart, Ryan Hannigan, and then the pitcher spot. Bronson Arroyo due up at the bottom of the 6th. There was activity last half inning in the Reds pen, so we'll see how that plays out. Cozart hit by a pitch and has struck out. We talked a little bit about that St. Louis rotation, the best rotation ERA in the National League. Lance Lynn's an 8-game winner. Adam Wainwright's having a sensational year. The rookie Shelby Miller is having a great year as well. He's actually leading the National League in ERA right now at 191, just ahead of Clayton Kershaw and Patrick Corbin. And they've had some injuries. Jake Westbrook is on the DL right now, could be back in a week. Jaime Garcia's on the DL. He's out for the season. So they've used a lot of rookies as well. Michael Wacha, Tyler Lyons.
I mean, it's pretty nice when Jake Westbrook goes down and you can throw in a Shelby Miller, throws 150. Bring him in to take your place.
But the leader indisputably is Adam Wainwright, who kind of inherited that job, Oral, from Chris Carpenter. Carpenter trying to make a comeback, not willing to concede yet that nerve problem is going to end his career, but Wainwright's kind of taking over that leadership role right now.
Oh, Dave Duncan, who used to be the pitching coach, then you go back all the way to Pat Henkin, and then Chris Carpenter, and now Adam Wainwright leadership. I'll tell you what, they have a great pedigree and a great culture for pitchers.
And you think about how most of them did it. Miller in the bullpen, Lynn in the bullpen, Wainwright when he first came up in the bullpen. They let him get their feet wet in the bullpen. Well, not Wainwright. They threw him right into closer, and he helped them win that championship. But all of them start in the big leagues. We're going to let them work their way into the rotation, and they did it, and it was great.
Well, Oral Hershiser had a chance to talk to Adam Wainwright yesterday and asked him specifically about Joey Votto. But here's what Wainwright had to say about facing batters.
I learned from an early age that you don't give a hitter too much credit. I'm going to say this, and lots of hitters are going to be ticked off of me, but they're just big dumb animals up there, I think. And as pitchers, they have so much talent up there behind when they step up to the plate, that if we start overthinking things too much, yes, there are times where you can look at a guy's take, or you can look at a guy's reaction to a pitch and say, all right, well, now I need to do this or that. But for the most part, they have approaches, and they're trying to do something a certain way. You know what that approach is, or you should know what that approach is, and so you try to do it to get them out.
Crucky, would you like rebuttal time on behalf of the Big Dumb Animals?
No comment. When a pitcher strikes out 27, then we'll say he did it on his own.
Hannigan called out on strikes.
I don't think all of those quotes about hitters are facts as much as their mindset of not giving up in mentally to hitters.
No, and you know, I've gotten a chance to spend some time with Adam Wainwright. Great person as long as a great player. And he and Carpenter have done it in different ways as far as leadership. Carpenter more quiet, you know, very serious pretty much all the time. And Wainwright, I mean, you'll see him in the dugout dancing and doing really goofy things in the dugout. But, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, and he picks and chooses spots to be goofy.
2 outs, nobody on. Here's Donald Lutz, who is pinch hitting for Bronson Arroyo. 6'3", 250, 24 years of age. The first player who was raised and developed really in Germany. He wasn't born in Germany, and there have been German-born players in the majors. He is the son of his mom is German, his dad was in the American service. They met when his dad was stationed over in Germany, so he grew up playing handball and hockey in Germany before he became a baseball player as a teenager. Now here he is a few years later in the big leagues. One of the stories I read about him is when he plays hockey, he shoots left. When he first tried baseball, he was hitting right, and it wasn't going very well. Turned around and batted left, and he said, wow, this is working a lot better. And he was driving the ball, and here he is in the big leagues.
I mean, besides Charo for the Bruins, there's probably not many guys as big as him on skates, is there?
Yeah.
Imagine 250 coming at you full bore on skates.
Sam LeCure is up in the Reds pen. The end of the night for Arroyo. Got a chance to pick up a W.
This young man's got outstanding power. It's light tower power. And he's learning discipline at the plate and strike zone. He's a bright future.
Swing and a miss, and that's all for the Reds here in the bottom of the 6th. Into the bullpen goes Dusty Baker with a 4-2 lead. And to the bullpen go the Reds for right-hander Sam McCure. Bronson Arroyo, 6 innings, 2 runs, 84 pitches, 1 comebacker off the knee, and a chance to pick up win number 7. If the Reds bullpen can deliver the rest of the way, and if it goes the way that Dusty Baker hopes it goes, it'll be LeCure to Broxton to Chapman. They're without a couple of injured relievers right now. Right-hander Nick Massett, left-hander Sean Marshall, so a little thin in the pen. As John Jay, the number 8 hitter, leads it off for the Cardinals.
Hey, John Jay's changed his approach at the plate since early in the season. He had that big, you know, the Ike Davis hands going, dropping him down, trying to get him back up, and now he still has the hitch, but it's a tiny little hitch, and his hands are getting up a little quicker.
Two and one, the count on Jay. Matt Adams in the on-deck circle to bat in the pitcher's spot. Then back to the top of the order for Matt Carpenter here in the 7th inning. It's laced into center field, a base hit. Jay's 3 for 3, and we've got an update. Some other nighttime action going on around the bigs tonight. Here's Carl Ravitch. All right, Carl, thanks. Here, meanwhile, in Cincinnati, the tying run now comes to the plate for the Cardinals in the 7th. As you check out the latest standings in the National League East, boy, the Nationals can get back to the 500 mark, but they've had a disappointing season, a lot of injuries, and things just not going the way they wanted them to go. Both Harper and Strasburg on the DL right now. Detweiler as well. The Phillies trying to get back to the 500 mark.
Gio Gonzalez, who was runner up to the Cy Young, Dari Dickey, really not having a good year, or off to a bad start so far.
So Atlanta's got a healthy lead right now.
They tempted fate last year.
Washington?
I think no, there's someone up there who looks down and says, wait, you can't not have your best pitcher in the playoffs and expect to win and get back again in every year. And they're going to have to battle to get back in.
Adams drills it to center. Off the glove of Chu. Jay will be held on a booming double by Adams.
You saw a couple balls play tricks on Chu. One, he went over his left shoulder and hooked back around, and boy, Adams just really put a good swing on this ball. Look at that, just a beautiful compact swing. Chu did everything right. He turned the right way. He ran the right route. It's just, you know, it's one of those things. It was just a tad too high for him.
Well, I don't really think he's a true center fielder, and it looked like he froze just a little too long, and then he doesn't have the foot speed of a true center fielder. And I think a lot of baseball people will watch the game and go, you know what, that was really hard and it was hit over his head. But there are a lot of people saying, you know what, for a center fielder, you need to be fleet of foot, you need a little better reaction time. And I would say a lot of center fielders catch that ball.
So a tough spot now for LeCure. Second and third, nobody out, and back to the top of the order for Carpenter.
This is where you wonder if you'd have seen Marshall if he was healthy.
Right.
Coming in here to get left, he turned Beltran around right-handed.
Carpenter 0 for 3, trying to extend a hitting streak, and more importantly, trying to knock in a run or two here for the Cardinals.
Well, trying to get the runner over, and we're getting a pinch runner coming in for Adam. You know, you hit a grounder to the right side, forget the hitting streak. Get a grounder to the right side, get the run in, get the pinch runner now in over to third, and let Beltran try to drive him in to tie this game, or try to drive a ball to right field and get a hit, which is totally against the Cardinals' way of thinking with runner in scoring position, is to pull the ball. But this is a situation where Carpenter has to try to get out in front of one and hook one, hopefully get a hit. If not, get him over, get him in.
Shane Robinson to run for Matt Adams. Cardinals with incredible numbers, as we mentioned, with runners in scoring position this year. Just 1 for 7 though tonight. They were 8 for 19 Friday, 1 for 7 last night, 1 for 7 so far tonight.
They're struggling.
And up and down the lineup, you see guys hitting 360, 370, sometimes over 400 on the season with runners in scoring position.
That's it. That swing right there by Carpenter is a beautiful thing. He jumped out in front of it from LeCure and tried to hook it. He's not trying to get a base hit, just thinking extend my hitting streak. Look how far he got over. Look at how his left hand rolled over the bat, decided tried to set the bat angle to pull the ball. That's not a guy who's worried about his hitting streak. That's a guy who's more worried about doing his job.
Passing the baton.
Yep.
Driving a run, move a runner, pass the baton.
To run producers behind him in Beltran and Holiday.
Holiday hoping for an opportunity this inning. Couple of spots away right now. Beltran on deck. He's already homered in this game.
I won't be surprised if Reds right here, LeCure doubles up inside, tries to lock him up. Gone awful slow with the breaking stuff. Back-to-back fastballs in might get him. Nope, they're going to go away, it looks like.
Tried to go away, but hung a breaking ball over the middle of the plate.
The breaking ball has been a pull type breaking ball, the speed, and Carpenter's been able to get out in front, of course, to try and hook it over there. And you're trying to get an out if you're the pitcher to the other side of the field. And I would just think that the fastball in would be a shot at it.
Yeah, when a guy's jumping out and trying to hook the ball, you throw him in, he's going to get jammed.
Yep.
And there's no way around it not getting jammed. Now, direction of where the ball goes that's something that can't be predicted, but the better shot is he's probably going to hit a little roller back to the pitcher or a little pop-up somewhere.
Did a nice job executing the pitch, did a nice job fighting it off.
And you saw the direction of where that ball went to the left side. It's something that Carpenter doesn't want. Just a little four-seamer. He's trying to run in, staying on the inside part of the plate. And you see it. He ran out on the breaking balls to try to hook him, and the fastball beat him in. But this is what guys who are hitting, coming in the game hitting 340, 350. That's what they do. They foul it off. Guys hitting 220, swing and miss, or hit a chopper back to the pitcher.
Liner to right, a base hit. Jay in to score. To third is Robinson. RBI single. 18-game hitting streak for Matt Carpenter. One-run game.
They did everything he was supposed to do, plus reach base. Get the RBI in there, move the runner over, and stand at first safely. Breaking ball, John, and he just stays right on it and drives it to right field.
Yeah, that's where you got to maybe question the pitch selection, because he just jammed him on a fastball to have him flare one over the dugout, and he throws him something he can catch up to.
So the lead is down to 1. The Cardinals continue to threaten, and we'll have a pitching change here in Cincinnati. So here we go. The Cardinals will run into the 7th. The runners on the corners, nobody out. New pitcher, right-hander Alfredo Simon, who gave up a couple of earned runs Wednesday, the first earned runs he had allowed since late April, as he comes on to try to clean up the mess here left by Sam LeCure. But it will not be easy. You can see Robinson's at third, Carpenter's at first. And getting into the meat of the order here for the Cardinals, beginning with a Beltran, 1 for 3, and the one was a homer. Matt Holliday's on deck. Alan Craig behind him. Yadier Molina behind him.
And this is a great situation for Beltran. He's a pull hitter. Really can roll over that top hand. Now the hole's open. Runner on first and third. This could be a pretty easy RBI situation for Beltran. And now 2-0.
This is where, if you're Simon, you really need to pitch not to save the runner at third. You need to pitch to prevent anything more than the runner at third scoring.
You almost have to concede the tie with the guys coming up and try to keep Carpenter from scoring on first base.
High fly ball to deep right. And Bruce makes the catch on the track. In to score to tie the game is Robinson. So twice tonight the Reds have led by a couple, and twice tonight the Cardinals have come back to tie.
They're lucky they weren't down one there. That was just missed by Beltran.
Runner at first, one out for Matt Holliday. A strikeout, a double, and a walk.
Carlos hit 2 high pitches earlier for the home run and long hit up there in left center, but that one was high, but just a little more velocity, just couldn't get to it.
Runner goes in time to get him. Ryan Hannigan throws out Matt Carpenter.
Carpenter looked like he got a great jump, but that was an unbelievable tag by Brandon Phillips. You talk about the great plays he makes. That's a play right there that will go unnoticed as far as the spectacular plays he makes, but that's about as good as you get right there as far as a quick catch and tag.
He's getting the ball in front of the bag instead of waiting for it behind, using the bag as protection. He went right across the runner's path.
That's quick.
If he's behind the bag, he's safe. But since he's in front of the bag and took the risky route, he gets it and gets it down.
And ball 4 to Holiday.
Risky. I don't know if Carpenter had the green light, or I don't know if Mike Matheny put the steal on or something, but it's risky. I mean, Simons was 2-0 to Beltran when he hit that deep fly ball, which might not have been a strike. Now he walks Holiday on 4 pitches.
Brian Price, the pitching coach, to the mound to talk with Simon. Tuesday night, ESPN has a couple of World Cup qualifying matches for you. First at 7:30 Eastern time, it'll be Mexico and Costa Rica, and then at 10 o'clock Eastern, the United States taking on Panama. The USA coming off a win over Jamaica. World Cup qualifying matches Tuesday at 7:30 and 10 on ESPN, and also live on Watch ESPN. You know, you can imagine if these two teams were to meet, say they were to wind up in a National League Championship Series against one another, you can just imagine what the series would be like. It would be intense and hard fought. No love lost between the teams or the towns when it comes to baseball. Great tradition in both cities.
Great baseball cities, too.
And they both got their sights set not only on making it to the postseason, but on doing some damage once they're there. Two terrific teams. Alan Craig hits the ball hard, but Chu is there to get this one on the edge of the track. 7th inning stretch. Tie game. But right now I'd like to face just about anybody other than Bronson Arroyo. Flares it toward right field, a base hit. Deep center field, gone. Flying down the right field line. Off the glove of Chu. Tie game, 7th inning here in Cincinnati. Let's take a look now at our game track. Brought to you by Jeep. As mentioned, twice the Reds have led, twice the Cardinals have tied it. It's in the hands of the bullpens right now, tied at 4. We'll get back to this in a moment, but this week's a special week in Cincinnati. This week marking the 75th anniversary of as unusual and remarkable an accomplishment of guys as there's ever been in baseball. Johnny Vandermeer, the only pitcher in baseball history to pitch a no-hitter in 2 consecutive starts. On June the 11th, 75 years ago, he no-hit the Boston Bees, as they were known. They were the Boston Braves for most of their history, but they were the Boston Bees in 1938. And then 4 days later, he no-hit the Brooklyn Dodgers. Had a little control issue in the second game. But I guess when you're working on your 2nd consecutive no-hitter, you get a bit of a long leash, Earl, from your manager on that.
I wonder what his pitch counts were in those games.
No.
The counter hadn't been invented yet.
It's incredible if you think.
Incredible feat. No matter what generation.
Back to the action. Randy Choate is the pitcher, and Shin-Soo Choo takes what he thought was a low strike. Choate, veteran left-hander, a real specialist. And there to face Choo and presumably Votto a couple of batters from now.
Love these relievers like Choate that have the unorthodox delivery and come at you from the left side and a little bit of herky-jerky. I know you didn't love him, John.
Not a bit.
It's hard to get a read on that breaking ball when it's headed at your right hip, huh?
Yeah, especially when it breaks that far out of the zone, because you don't think it could break that much. And he threw 2 pitches in, one a strike, one off the plate to Choo to set up that pitch away. And this is a guy, if you're a left-handed hitter, Choate, you have to tell yourself, keep your shoulder in, keep your shoulder in, keep your shoulder in. And, you know, if he throws one inside, it hits you, then you have to live with that. And believe me, Choo's been hit enough. He knows what that's like.
17 times this year.
And you're trying to shoot him to left field the whole time?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, even this situation, 3-2, he's liable to throw him a breaking ball, even though Choo's leading off the inning.
Ball 4. Choo draws his 44th walk of the season. So the leadoff man is aboard for the Reds here to begin the bottom of the 7th. Tie game. And now Derek Robinson will bat for the right side against the left-hander Choate.
There's a chance you might see a bunt right here, Dan, because they've bunted with Robinson earlier in the game. They sacrificed him. Dusty can play a little small ball.
Gets it down, back to the mound. Choate thinking about it, fires to second in time to get the lead runner.
You got to get a better bunt down than that if you're Robinson, especially with no strikes on you the very first pitch. If you're going to not create an angle, you've got to be very adept at deadening the ball. And this ball not only has terrible direction, but too much velocity going right back at Choate. And it practices in spring training. I don't care if you've had PFP, pitcher fielding practice or not. This is the easiest one there is. You don't have to worry about anything if you're the pitcher. You've got enough time to get anybody.
Yeah, and it was bunted to his glove side so he could turn, catch the ball as his momentum's taking him to second base, and it was just a catch and throw. Not a very difficult play, but not a great bunt by Robinson.
Now Votto, a couple of walks and also a strikeout tonight.
This Robinson's got to keep his head in the game. He can't be pouting about that bunt and then all of a sudden get picked off. Choate's got a pretty good move over there, so you can't think, well, you know, I'm going to do something other than let Joey Votto hit.
Votto looks like he's sneaking peeks at where the infielders on the left side of the diamond are playing. Maybe Descalso, the shortstop, trying to see how much he's shading him up the middle. Votto just 1 for 6 in his career against Choate.
Boy, Robinson there took a couple stutter steps like he was supposed to run and thought he was going to run, and then he went back to the base. Guy coaching first base, Billy Hatcher, can steal a base.
Go-ahead run at first. One out, bottom of the seventh. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
You get a swing like that out of one of the best hitters in the game. I don't do anything to set up the next breaking ball. I go right to it. Don't give him a chance at a straight one.
Could be trouble, and it drops. 0-2, Blue base hit for Votto. Robinson to second.
Yeah, before the pitch, it looked like Votto went into a little deeper crouch than normal, expecting the breaking ball, and then just had enough to just stay with it, even though it was a way off the plate, I think, away. Yeah, it's going to be out there about 6 inches, but he just stayed in there deep with his head. Look how tight the upper body is of the plate. He really probably made the adjustment on the last pitch because he pulled off so much. He wanted to stay in there, so he took a deep crouch and just stayed in there just long enough to put it in play.
And Mike Matheny's going to make the move. Out comes Choate. And right-hander Seth Maness is going to come into the game to face Brandon Phillips, trying to give the Reds the lead here in the bottom of the seventh. Cleanup hitter for the Cincinnati Reds. That's his job right now. He's hit leadoff before, but full-time cleanup hitter this year. And Crucky says, I don't care about anything, except driving in runs.
That's the job of the fourth hitter.
Yep.
And believe me, he's going to have plenty of opportunities with Chu and Votto in front of him.
Nobody in the National League has come to the plate more often with a man or men on base this year than Brandon Phillips. He's got an RBI single already here tonight. He's got 2 men on. Robinson at second, Votto at first. 1 out, tie game, bottom 7. And rookie right-hander Seth Maness on the mound. Ground ball to short, to second, 1 on to first, double play. Another inning gone wrong for the Reds. They have missed a lot of opportunities tonight. Seth Maness, the rookie, comes out of the pen, throws 1 pitch, and gets 2 outs. Tied at 4 at the end of 7. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas. And in part by Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of MLB. Try targeted relief with the power of Bayer Advanced Aspirin. And White House Down in theaters June 28th. Tie game going to the 8th inning here in Cincinnati. Cardinals and Reds. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Big right-hander Jonathan Broxton into the game for the Reds. Facing the National League's leading hitter in Yadier Molina, who's 2 for 3 tonight.
And against Bronson Arroyo, Yadier looked like everything he set his sights on was hitting the ball up the middle and the other way. A couple hits the other way. And against Broxton, little different animal. There's going to be some gas coming out of that arm, and he's going to. Yeah, this is where Yadier might try to jump out in front of one and pull him try to hit a go-ahead homer.
4 for 8 in his career against Broxton. Slider in the dirt, a ball and a strike. Broxton, the primary setup man, the 8th inning guy for the Cincinnati Reds. Of course, has had a lot of experience in his career as a closer, primarily with the Dodgers, also with the Royals as well.
You get to this point in the Reds bullpen, it's kind of like let the flames begin. Jonathan Broxton and then Aroldis Chapman coming in. You're going to get a lot of gas.
Broxton better be careful where he's locating this one.
Swing and a miss, 2-2.
You're right, John. That was a mistake, and Yachty just swung through it. But that's the pitch he'd love to have back. That was up, it was drivable, and he put a pull swing on it to try and hit it out of here. This is not the approach we saw earlier in the game.
No, that's putting us up ahead one. Yep. See if we can get a souvenir to someone up there in that second deck and left.
Cleared that belly button early.
Speaking of gas, up in the Cardinal pen right now, right-hander Trevor Rosenthal. He can reach 100 miles an hour. We might see Rosenthal and Chapman tonight, two of the few who can reach triple digits.
It's got to be fun late in the game. A little tired, a little sweaty.
It'd just be fun just to be able to throw a ball once like that.
No, it wouldn't.
Just low for ball 4.
He's had some great at bats, and now there's a great take to get a leadoff walk.
Well, and a 2-2 slider he took, which, you know, a pitch that he swung at yesterday and struck out on.
As you look back over this game, if the Reds lose it, they've got nobody but themselves to blame. Twice they bunted into an out instead of getting a sacrifice down. Votto out at third to end the third inning on the miscommunication. Arroyo bunting with 2 outs for some reason, popping the ball up. I mean, there have been 4 or 5 plays tonight where either lack of execution or just some sort of mental mistake has really cost the Reds.
You're just kind of shaking your head a little bit with all of them.
Hannigan shaken up.
He caught that ball awkwardly. It looked like I don't know if it was a slider or a cutter Broxton's trying to throw, and he kind of pulled it. Watch Hannigan go after this ball. He kind of went after it a little funny. Setting in, and it goes away.
It looked like he rolled his ankle a little bit.
It's a dangerous position.
One and one, the count on David Freese.
He's got the hitting streak, right, Dan?
Yeah. Carpenter has extended his to 18. Freese is hoping to extend his to 19. Molina the go-ahead run. Nobody out, top 8. Broxton throwing a lot of sliders here tonight.
He's up and he's in the middle of the plate when he's trying to throw strikes. He's really throwing quality balls and not very high quality strikes. Molina just missed one. Freese just missed that one right there. That would be considered a hanger and hittable.
Ground ball weakly hit back to the first base side of the mound. Broxton will take the out on Freese. Molina to second. Freese 0 for 4 and a runner in scoring position with 1 out now for Descalso. Cardinals winning Friday night. The Reds bouncing back with a win last night. St. Louis leading Cincinnati by 3. Pittsburgh by 3.5 atop the National League Central. Mike Matheny's team, the next 10 days they'll play the Mets, the Marlins, and the Cubs. Well, they've got a chance maybe to fatten up on some of the weaker teams in the National League. And we'll see the Cardinals again 2 weeks from tonight at home against the Texas Rangers in a rematch of the 2011 World Series. Of course, won in incredibly dramatic fashion by the Cardinals. Swing and a miss to Scalzo. 1 week from tonight, we will be in Atlanta. The Braves hosting the Giants.
Makes sense. Spin move with Yachty on second. He's probably running. Keep him close. Is that overthinking it?
I think he was a little overthinking it on the mound.
Because none of the infielders were moving.
Might have just not liked the pitch call or selection, just his way of stepping off.
Right center. And Chu makes the catch. Molina goes back to tag and beats the throw to third. A great throw by Chu, and Molina had gone halfway, race back, tag, and gets the third with 2 outs.
Molina is an excellent base runner, and Jose Oquendo, an excellent third base coach. And earlier in the game, we had a little miscommunication between Chris Spire and Joey Votto. Well, here Molina gets down. Oquendo gave the sign, and they got it done right.
Frazier tried to decoy him a little bit, too.
A little bit.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Freese did to Votto. Tricky.
So runner at third, 2 down. And the batter, John Jay, who had a 2 for 37 slump, but now with 3 hits tonight, is 8 for his last 17, and they're going to put him on. Ty Wigginton is out on the on-deck circle in the pitcher spot. Only right-handed batters left on Mike Matheny's bench. Tony Cruz, Pete Kozma, and Wigginton. So Jay takes the walk, and it'll be first and third, 2 down. Well, do the Cardinals have another big 2-out runners in scoring position kind of hit in them? That's been their specialty all season long. Wigginton hitting .209, 5 for 21 as a pinch hitter. What's your mindset, Crucky? You got a 93-mile-an-hour big fella on the mound. What are you thinking on first pitch here?
First pitch, let it fly. That's whenever I pinch hit, that was what I tried to do. Get a fastball early, because they're going to try to get ahead of you because you're coming off the bench. But I think you got to try to jump him early. You know what he throws. You know how hard he throws. And Wigginton's a veteran. Look, first pitch fastball and let it fly.
Got the fastball, but he took it.
Well, now you got to try to hit the slider.
Chase is out of the zone, 0-2.
Might not mess with the slider, or
well, he might not with Molina on third, risking the fact that he might spike it, and he feels like he can beat the veteran upstairs. Might see him go up the ladder a few times right here. You go to overthrow that slider, you leave it up. You could spike it in the dirt, maybe go 94 right back up at the letters.
conclusion of our game tonight. A recap of the Heat win in Game 2 as they even up the series with the Spurs. The Sunday conversation with Tiger Woods and a look at a busy day around the majors. One hard thrower warming up in the pen, and another one on the mound here to begin the bottom of the 8th. Rookie right-hander Trevor Rosenthal, who can also reach 100 miles an hour, is on in this 4-4 tie. 42 strikeouts, 6 walks in 30 innings. Jay Bruce leads it off. And they flipped him one in there.
Where's the justice in that? Guy throws 100. Let's drop one down to 78.
96 and a strike at the knees. 0-2 on Bruce.
Do you really see the ball, John, when it's 96 to 100, or is it a blur you're hitting?
You can see it. You just have to see it quick.
In my day, in our day, Dwight Gooden and Nolan Ryan were the guys, and it was kind of a blur to me.
Oh, a guy that pitched here, Rob Dibble.
Yep.
Change up to get him. A pitch Mike Matheny talked about before the game as being a big reason, Oral, why Rosenthal is getting better and better.
He has Molina behind the plate, got to see him and got used to him, and he said, you know what, I really like this changeup. And at 87, you think that's a changeup, but when you're gearing up for 95 to 100, you're going to be out front of 87, especially with that diving action away from a left-handed hitter.
How is a guy who throws 100, maybe a late bloomer, obviously didn't throw that hard when he was drafted, how is he a 21st round pick? How were there over 600 players drafted ahead of him the year that he was drafted?
Maybe mechanical. Maybe they changed his mechanics and got him to use his legs more. And
gained probably a lot of location after leaving the draft, and might have gained some velocity just from cleaning up his mechanics.
.02 changeup.
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
Doing a good job keeping it down. I think every once in a while he'd be able to go upstairs, huh?
This one might be a little, have some velocity on it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
98, swing and a miss, 2 down.
Change up at his feet, 98 on the outside.
But
part of the play.
John, you got to explain to the audience. You got guys throwing 93 that guys make solid swings against, and all of a sudden we're at 96, 98, and you get just a swing that looks like kind of like a little leaguer. Well, why does it happen?
Because 5 mile an hour difference in velocity is one reason, and you know he's throwing his changeup at anywhere from 70. He threw his first pitch to Jay Bruce at 78, and then he throws the changeup to him to strike him out at 87 with a couple 96s thrown in there. It's a guessing game, and when you got a guy throwing that hard, you got to try to get out quick, because you're not going to catch up to his fastball if back of your mind you're thinking breaking ball or changeup. You're just not going to do it. It's impossible. And so you jump out in front and he throws something 7-8 miles an hour slower, and you look foolish.
And how about that?
Pretty good
makes quick work of the Reds, striking out the side in the 8th. Work the top of the 9th in a tie game. We are seeing 2 of the hardest throwers in baseball back-to-back here tonight in Rosenthal and Chapman. ESPN's got more Major League action coming your way this week tomorrow night. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA, the Red Sox and the Rays at 7 Eastern. Wednesday night brought to you by T-Mobile, the Indians and the Rangers. And then 1 week from tonight we'll be in Atlanta, the Giants and the Braves. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Good game here tonight. 4-4, top 9. Top of the order for the Cardinals. A reminder, Sports Center comes your way as soon as this game is over. Chapman picked up the save yesterday, but once you reach the stage of the game in a tie game, no more save situations at home, so Dusty Baker will bring his best out there to try to keep the Cardinals from taking the lead in the top of the 9th. And And if you want an ominous stat as Matt Carpenter makes his way to the plate, left-handers against Chapman in Chapman's major league career hit 104, 17 for 163 with 91 strikeouts. So that's those are some of the odds Matt Carpenter is facing as he digs in.
That's higher than I thought.
Yeah.
I really did. I was thinking I thought the first number was going to be a 0.
A 104 average, 1 home run in 163 at bats. Left-handed batters. Luke Scott, the only lefty to hit a home run off Chapman in his big league career. We saw Rosenthal start at 96, top out at 99. Chapman starts at 96.
And that's, if you're a left-handed hitter, that's your approach. First fastball you see, go. If it don't hit you, hit it.
Now, I was reading notes and I heard a boom between innings. Did he rifle one off the backstop?
Yep, he threw it right by, not Hannigan because he wasn't out there yet, but somebody came out to catch him in a jacket.
Look at the woman sitting in the first row.
Yeah, that's one of those. A lot of times, if the backup catcher's out in the bullpen, one of your reserve players will go out there. I don't think any one of the reserve players wanted some piece of this one.
Well, you're risking your thumbs. Just don't catch one in the pocket. You're in trouble.
How about 97 with about a foot of
little
run on it there, huh?
Yep. You got to be just convincing yourself as a left-handed hitter the whole time you're up there. Hang in, because wow.
This is a little different than Randy Choate, huh?
Just a tad. Just different arm angles, that's all.
He hides the ball really well. I mean, he tucks that whole front side. He gets his upper body in there. He doesn't let you see his arm swing.
One down, Chapman to face Beltran. Beltran's had a good night, a home run and a sac fly, 1 for 3, officially 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts in his career against Chapman. All right-handed batters now for Chapman.
That's what amazes me. I think this generation of baseball, hitting 300 is more of a chore than it was in our generation, Oral, because of what you see coming out of the bullpens now. You get a couple hits off a starter, and next thing you know, you're getting the 6th, 7th inning guy that's throwing 95, and the 8th inning guy throwing 97, and the closer throwing 100. Seems like.
When we broke in, there were also sometimes 9- and 10-man pitching staffs. Now you can carry those extra guys because the teams have decided to go with more of the specialty guys in the bullpen.
Look at that slider, swing and a miss, 2 down.
How would you like to see a 100-mile-an-hour fastball and Matt Holliday catch it square? How far it would go? I mean, it's just not fair. I mean, Beltran pulled the ball foul, a fastball foul, and then Chapman said, okay, you want to get out in front of it? Here, get out in front of this one. Slow it up a little bit, and you're not going to touch it. It's still gas.
You know, you watch him close. I mean, they talked about making him a starter. They were starting to stretch him up, but he just seems born for this role. Just fastball, slider, here it is. I mean, why mess with that, huh? Getting loose now, Crucky.
Yeah, I'm starting to perspire. Arms warming up. Tried to sink that one at 98. You wonder how far a ball would go if someone just caught it perfect at 100 miles an hour. Especially a guy as strong as Holiday. That ain't going.
Now the slider in on his hands, popped it up. Frazier has it, inning over. Dave Duncan, the longtime pitching coach of the St. Louis Cardinals, who left the team after the 2011 season to care for his wife Janine, who had been diagnosed during the 2011 season with a brain tumor. Janine Duncan passed away on Thursday, and we send our deepest sympathies to Dave Duncan and family. Four, bottom 9. Rosenthal back on the mound for the Cardinals. Struck out the side. Bruce Frazier and Cozart in the 8th. Hannigan leading off the 9th. Hannigan, we've got a pinch hitter out on the on-deck circle for the Reds, Xavier Paul, and then top of the order in Shin Soo Choo. At least Hannigan's getting a piece of them. Rosenthal just overpowered Bruce Frazier and Cozart in the 8th inning. J.J. Hoover's now up in the Reds pen. So it'll be one and done, it looks like, for Chapman should this game go to extra innings. You don't often see a guy who throws 99 mixing his pitches as much as Rosenthal's been doing, especially as a reliever. Broken to bat, pop up, one down.
His command's a little better tonight than when he scuffled a little bit as the closer. And the changeup has been down consistently. Throwing his fastball up when he wants to and throwing it for a strike away from righties when he needs it.
What Dusty Baker told us in the meeting today that he has Xavier Paul on the bench. Said a lefty that got some pop and can hit a fastball. Well, we're going to find out.
Two for 3 in his career against Rosenthal. Tie game, bottom 9, Cincinnati.
You wonder why pinch hitting's so difficult. Yeah, sit here for 4 hours and grab a bat against a guy throwing 98 with a great changeup. Woohoo! How's my job?
First pitch swinging, pops it up. Shallow left. 2 down. Sports Center coming your way after the ball game. Bottom 9, 2 outs, tie game. A look at the Heat's win over the Spurs. Sunday conversation, Tiger Woods. Can Shu do something here for the Reds in the bottom of the 9th? Yes, he is a leadoff hitter. Yes, we think of him as a guy who draws a lot of walks. But he's got 10 home runs this year as well.
The most of any leadoff hitter, the most extra bases hits of any leadoff hitter.
Rosenthal not messing around, throwing strikes, getting ahead of hitters. Yes, he did, and the inning is over. 2 dominant innings by Rosenthal. Extra innings in Cincinnati. And we are headed to extra innings. Top of the 10th here in Cincinnati. And out of the Reds pen comes right-hander J.J. Hoover. He is the 6th pitcher of the night for the Reds. Reds are a little bit deeper into their pen than the Cardinals are into theirs at this point of the game. And Hoover will face the 4, 5, 6 hitters, Craig, Molina, and Freeze, as he makes his 28th appearance of the season.
Another hard thrower with a good breaking ball. And Dusty just looking for zeros now here in extra innings, hoping the bullpen can hold up longer than the St. Louis side.
The Cardinals, as well as they've done this year, the best record in baseball. They're the only team in baseball that doesn't have an extra innings win so far this year. They're 0-4. Reds 3-5. So here's Craig 0 for 4. Reds got 2 in the first. Cardinals tied it in the 4th. Reds got 2 in the 5th. Cardinals tied it in the 7th. And here we are in the 10th. Big swing and a foul back, 2-1.
Watching the first 3 pitches here by Hoover and watching every one of his warm-up pitches, he couldn't throw a ball to his arm side. Everything was pulling to the glove side. If you're watching that in the Cardinals dugout, this fits right into how they hit the ball the other way.
Outside again, 3-1.
The only pitch he's thrown for a strike is his breaking ball. If I'm Craig right here, 3-1, I might be sitting on it and take a chance. Trying with that fastball.
But you got him pegged right. Everything has been away, Crucky, and it's the kind of stuff that the Cardinals are always sitting around their dugout talking about. We've heard so much about just the information exchange of this lineup when they go back from the bench about what's going on from the pitcher. They're always talking baseball.
And he walked him.
Well, there's reasons why guys are hitting into 350 and leading the league and hitting. And Yadier Molina, there's his first at bat, a breaking ball away. He hits it to center field, hit it pretty hard. But he always has his sights set on you. See, by the way, he sets his hands to hit the ball the other way. That's the double down the right field line. And then this the base hit to right field to set up an inning. And that's why you hit that high average, because you go in with the game plan, you execute the game plan, and you get, multiple hits in a game. And believe me, it's not over yet. And if Hoover keeps throwing the ball away, this is going to be a first to third situation, because he will shoot one through that hole.
Molina, the leading hitter in the National League, up to 356. Off the mask of Hannigan.
Well, Hannigan's had a rough couple innings, hasn't he?
Yeah. And you could see there the way Hannigan nodded that Molina, obviously part of that catcher's fraternity, probably apologized to him for fouling one off his mask.
You're thankful I was left-handed. Yeah, there's a certain protocol between those 3 guys right there in the picture.
Yep.
They give themselves some time. They know what goes on back there.
Slow curve, 0-2.
It's a hanger. It's up there when you throw hard, and made it down just to the top of it. That's when John's up here rolling his eyes going, oh, I want to hit that one.
Might be the best one to hit. Might be the only one to hit if he throws a good pitch here.
Feels like the breeze has picked up a little bit in the last minute or so. It's blowing in from left center. A little bit stronger now than earlier. We saw Carlos Beltran hit one out to left center earlier tonight. Tie game, 10th inning. Great American Ballpark.
There's a slide step breaking ball, and he left it up again, John.
Yeah, unless you're trying to trick the hitter, I'm not sure Alan Craig's a threat to run right here.
The trouble with the slide step breaking ball, sometimes you change the timing of getting your arm up on top and getting the ball down and away from the hitter, and that's what he did. The arm was a little late and left it up.
Another breaking ball, and Molina skies it shallow right center. Phillips back again. Well, he's got some kind of range.
I mean, the Reds are playing no doubles defense, so the outfielders are playing exceptionally deep, trying to keep the ball in front of them, so Craig can't score on a double. And I mean, you look at, there's another hanging break ball. You see the little bit of hesitation, the hitch by Molina that he couldn't get through that. But look at how far Phillips goes, and to be able to turn and get underneath it. I mean, you can afford your right fielder and center fielder to play deeper because he can cover the shallow ball. And Robbie Alomar was great at that, going back on balls. But I mean, Brandon Phillips is special.
So 1 on, 1 out. David Freese, the batter.
Gets another chance at 10th inning to try to extend this hitting streak.
Yep, 0 for 4 tonight. Matt Carpenter's extended his. Freese has yet to do that. Slammed his bat down once earlier tonight in frustration after hitting a fly ball to center with a pitch he thought he should have done some damage with. Down the right field line, tricky play. Great effort by Bruce, but he can't come up with it in foul territory.
You had a chance. He wanted the ball from Bruce. He had a chance to catch it. He missed it. Oh. Let's see if this ball would have stayed in play.
It was definitely touched by a fan on its way down.
That's why Bruce didn't throw it to him.
Yep, you're right. Does he interfere with it? Breaking ball for a strike.
But Hoover's got these. You got Yadier buckling on it and double clutching, and saw David Freese right there freeze on it.
Yeah, they're not picking
no
it
pun
up.
Intended.
As far as location and severity of break, it's not real good, but he's hiding the ball real well on him.
Sports Center comes your way at the conclusion of our ball game. We're on the top of the 10th inning right now here in Cincinnati in a 4-4 tie. Sports Center will get you caught up on Miami's win over San Antonio in Game 2 of the NBA Finals, and the Sunday conversation is with Tiger Woods.
The fans had it as a strike, but I'm sure K-Zone has his ball. Hannigan gets out there low and away. He hits the glove, and the glove's just off the edge of the plate.
And that's all the fans can see. They can see the ball hit the glove where he has it. The problem is his glove was outside the zone. Good call.
Base hit into right field for Freese. Another Cardinal hitter goes the other way, and Freese extends his hitting streak to 19 as he pushes Craig to second.
Like Hoover fooled him with the breaking ball. It looked like David Freese. He had him off balance the whole at bat. And then he throws another fastball out over the plate. Basically the same pitch as the pitch before. You see it. There's no I'm trying to pull it. I'm trying to be a hero, hit the big 2-run homer, put us ahead. I'm going to hit a base hit the other way. I'm going to hit the ball the other way. If I find a hole, I find a hole. But I'm going to advance the runner, and that's what he did. And now with Descalso and Jay, who's had 3 hits, Jay having 3 hits, they might get a chance here to. Jay might get a chance to drive in a run if Descalso doesn't.
Descalso 0 for 4. Again, a game in which the Reds have had a lot of opportunities. There have been some mental mistakes. There have been some missed opportunities when they've tried to get some bunts down and haven't been able to. Now the Cardinals threatening to take the lead in the 10th. So tonight the Cardinals have not done what they have done so well over the course of the season, hit with runners in scoring position, just 2 for 10 tonight. But still a ridiculous 336 as a team on the season. That's how you can be 12th in the league in home runs and 1st in the league in runs per game. Ooh.
They might not be as successful as they have been all year, but their approach hasn't changed, and that's what gives you a lot of confidence that they're going to be there for a long time putting up those kind of numbers.
There's John Mabry, the batting coach for the Cardinals, and a guy, Crucky, I mean, he was happy to hit the ball up the middle, take it the other way.
Yep. And Mike Aldretti's there too. He was the same kind of hitter.
2 on, 1 out. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, 2-2.
He's a really good pull off by Descalso on that pitch. Got out in front of that curveball. He was going to hit that thing far to right field.
Fly ball to left. Carrying and off the wall. Craig rounding third on his way home. It'll be an RBI double for Descalso on a ball that just kept going and going and hit the wall on the fly as the Cardinals take the lead.
I mean, pretty much the whole game, the flags were blowing in. And now look at them. The wind has shifted. It's blowing out the left. And like you said, Dan, that ball, when it went up, I thought, okay, routine pop-up. Jay's going to have to get a 2-out hit if they want to put the Cardinals ahead. And it just kept going and going. And Robinson kept tracking back on this ball. And you know, when the wind's blowing like this, you can say all you want. You know, well, he should have ran back to the wall. You don't think it's going that far. The wind keeps taking it. And the farther you run, the farther it keeps getting away from you.
So it's an RBI double for Descalso. The Cardinals lead 5-4. Second and third, 1 out. Brian Price, the pitching coach, to the mound. John Jay is the batter. Pete Kozma has come out of the on-deck circle in the pitcher spot. Edward Mojica, the closer for the Cardinals, is now up in the pen. You expect another intentional walk here for Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to set up the force at any base. I mean, Jay's hit the ball pretty well today.
Hey.
3 for 3 plus the intentional walk. And now they are going to put him on again. That's one of the things about this Cardinal lineup, and I remember the first time we talked about them this year, Cruck, you said they're an American League lineup. Some lineups you could say, well, 3, 4, 5 or a 1, 2, 3. These are the guys that really worry me. It's kind of 1 through 8 with this Cardinal lineup.
Yeah, Matt Carpenter up at the top now has the 18-game hitting streak, and David Freese there down near the bottom has his 19-game hitting streak, and then in between there you got Beltran, Holiday, Craig Molina, and now Descalso just comes up with a big hit, and he's after Freese, and now you get John Jay. You know, and he's hot right now, 3 hits tonight, so it's just continuous.
And here's Kozma, the regular shortstop, just getting a night off tonight. Descalso's in for him. Descalso coming up with a big hit tonight, and now Kozma batting for Rosenthal. And he's had some big hits for them.
Yeah, and the only guy in their lineup there that started the game, the starting eight, who doesn't have a hit's Alan Craig. And he just walked and scored the go-ahead run.
And that would have been the fourth time in four games in a row that the Cardinals all position players got a hit. He would have got a hit instead of a walk.
Up there hacking 0-1.
Dusty's got the infield in. They know they can't afford to let in another run. Risking the double play, turning a double play off Cosmo, who can run a little bit.
Fouled back again, 0-2. Activity now in the Reds pen. Left-hander Manny Parra is up. Left-hand hitting Matt Carpenter's on deck for the Cardinals. Parra, though, just got up. He's only thrown about 3 or 4 pitches.
They go breaking ball here. They better get in the dirt with that wind blowing out the left. Hard fastball high and away. Keep the ball to left field.
Sports Center next here on ESPN. Cardinals lead the Reds 5-4, top 10. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Cosmo strikes out, 2 down.
That's a good recovery by Hoover right there. Hoover gives up a disappointing double to Descalso. Really wind blown and could have been out of the inning, but he comes right back and executes 4 or 5 really good pitches and gets a key strikeout to keep this game close.
And now Hoover will face Carpenter. Carpenter 1 for 5, had an RBI single in the 7th. So either Dusty has Parra up just in case the inning gets out of hand, or he didn't get loose in time to come in here and face the left-hand hitting Carpenter.
Here's where you just set on one pitch and one pitch only, and you set in a location. If you get it, let it fly. Carpenter has some power, especially now with the looks like the wind's blowing out a little bit.
Broken bat, base hit left field, and 2 runs will score. 7-4 Cardinals.
An up fastball that he jam shot, got the hit. Manufactured inning for the Cardinals. They just didn't give in any counts. 2 strike hits, busted bat hits. Hoover's had good stuff throughout the inning, made some good pitches, had some tough luck with the wind, but the Cardinals just keep battling and giving themselves a chance. And no swing and miss there. High fastball put it in play, and you got lucky and dropped in.
A 3-run 10th inning for the Cardinals. 2 on, 2 outs for Carlos Beltran.
You know, the Reds really throughout the whole game have made just little tiny errors here and there, and even there in this play they should be out of this inning. Robinson got that ball and kind of treated it like a rundown in left field. He should have gunned the ball to second immediately, and they'd have been out of the inning. They'd have got John Jay, who kind of overran second base and got caught in between.
And you wonder, they have a lefty warming up, but like Dan said, he only threw about 3 or 4 or 5 pitches when Carpenter stepped up to the plate, so he didn't get enough time to warm up. You wonder if that matchup would have been more in the Reds' favor.
Bouncing ball, tricky play, no play. Infield hit, Beltran, bases loaded.
When that ball was hit, I thought that Phillips was going to make that play easy, but he had to go around the runner. And that changed his route, and then didn't have clean pick on the ball, and also the momentum was kind of going the wrong direction. This is a Gold Glover and probably the best fielding second baseman around. You just watch the route he has to take to this ball. When he has to reroute because of the runner, right about here, he's got to go make a loop, and I think it just distracted him just a little bit.
We used to play the Giants, and Robbie Thompson used to either run into the runner and get the interference call, or he'd run in like that play and stop, and you had to stop. And then he would catch it, and then you got to force it second. Very smart player. And Phillips, like you said, normally he would make that play.
Here comes Dusty Baker. He wants a right-hander, Curtis Parch, who got up a short while ago to come in and face Matt Holliday, with the Cardinals already having scored 3 runs to take a 7-4 lead here in the 10th.
Get this situation.
That's what he dreamed of as a kid.
6'5", 240 out of Merced, California.
I like the closed mechanics, and I like the way the arm works, and I like the velocity, and the fact that the first pitch in the major leagues, he came right after him with a strike.
27th round pick back in 2007. 6.5 years in the minors to get to the big leagues.
How? 27th round pick. He's big, tall,
95,
throws 95. How does that 27th round?
Gain their strength a little late, gain the velocity a little late, gain control a little late.
6.5 years in the minor leagues worth of late.
Just called up when Logan Ondrusek was sent down to the minors. That happened yesterday. His numbers at AAA Louisville, a 3.74 ERA and 16 appearances, a couple of saves. Better than a strikeout per inning.
You ever seen a guy take a stretch with his back turned to the hitter?
Not really this drastic.
But now, if there's just a runner on first, how could you throw to first?
You could throw, but I don't know how you're going to
Take
see
it
the
forever.
runner.
But it would, I mean, you could get a heck of a lead.
Yeah.
There's no way he could turn that quick and throw. I've never seen this before.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Gives up a grand slam to the first batter he ever faces in the majors.
Out of respect to his major league debut and All the time he spent in the minors to get here, it was better just to leave that one alone and not analyze it. It's quite an accomplishment to get here to the big leagues, but it's quite a shock to have that happen to you.
A 7-run 10th inning for the St. Louis Cardinals.
You hope Curtis on the mound has a long, prosperous career, and that'll be one that he says, I gave it up to him, and it was a no-doubter, and it wasn't some guy who only hits 5 home runs a year.
Yeah, that one wasn't windblown.
Estimated at 464 feet. 5th career grand slam for Matt Holliday.
Did they factor in the apex? Because that one wasn't at its apex yet when it hit the seat up there in the second deck. They still had a little rise to that one.
The Cardinals erupt here in the 10th inning. It was Daniel Descalso who got it started with the opposite field double off the wall and left. He gave the Cardinals a 1-run lead. Broken to bat, base hit by Matt Carpenter made it 7-4. And then the exclamation point from Matt Holliday. 11-4 going bottom 10. The caps on here for the bottom of the 10th inning, but the Cardinals explode for 7 in the top half of the inning. The Cardinals haven't won an extra innings game yet this year. 0-4 coming in tonight. Pete Cosmo will stay in the game at short after pinch hitting in the top half of the inning. Daniel Descalso moves from short to second, so Matt Carpenter is out of the game. Oh, Carpenter is at third. Forgive me. Carpenter's at third. And David Freese is out of the game. A number of changes here for the Cardinals. And the new pitcher, left-hander Kevin Segrist. Mujica was up when this was a 1-run game and a 3-run game, but when it became a 7-run game, they decided to rest the closer and bring in Segrist.
A lot of defensive changes for a 7-run lead.
Segrist making his 3rd appearance. 2 1/3, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. So of the 7 outs he's gotten, 6 of them have been strikeouts.
Why not? Just bring another one in that strikes people out.
It's amazing. Every guy they bring up seems to help him. Boy, this is if you're Dusty Baker, this is a tough one to deal with. They had their chances.
Yeah.
They couldn't execute bunts. They had base running mistake.
I wouldn't be surprised this one where the skipper had a meeting with the guys.
One down. In a big game, too, of course, these two teams battling in the National League Central. Cincinnati, when it would have been a 2-game deficit, now it's going to be a 4-game deficit. Pirates losing to the Cubs earlier today. Cardinals on their way to New York will start a series with the Mets Tuesday. The Reds will begin a series in Chicago against the Cubs tomorrow night. Red Sox and Rays tomorrow night. Monday Night Baseball on ESPN. Wednesday night, Indians and Rangers. Sports Center next here tonight. And a week from tonight, the Giants and the Braves here on Sunday Night Baseball. On the outside corner, 2-2. Started off tonight with Lance Lynn, gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. Bronson Arroyo gave up 2 runs in 6 innings. And Votto is gone, 2 down. Tonight's Chevrolet player of the game is the guy who really blew it open in the 10th inning. Matt Holliday with his 5th career grand slam, 464 feet to left center.
Before the game, he was gracious enough to do an interview with Buster. Talked about their approach with runners in scoring position, that they don't try and pull. Well, he got out in front of that one.
If they have an exception to the rule, it's this guy.
Carlos Beltran and him.
2 down. Here's Brandon Phillips. It was a big moment too when Phillips was up in the 7th inning. Tie game. 2 men on, 1 out. First pitch he saw from Seth Maness grounded into a double play. Then Rosenthal shut him down in the 8th and 9th. Cardinal bullpen's part of the story here tonight as well, out pitching the Reds bullpen. And some long faces in that first base dugout. That's your ball game. An 11-4 win for the St. Louis Cardinals, and boy, they just find a way to get it done. They got the base hits when they needed. The bullpen did its job. They just kind of out-executed the Reds at times tonight.
They sure did, and the Reds will look back and see the disappointment in the little things that they didn't do and gave the Cardinals second chances and third chances, and the Cardinals capitalized finally.
Yeah, you don't win extra inning games unless your bullpen, and when you're behind in the game early, it's like the Cardinals were, unless your bullpen's exceptional, and they were exceptional tonight.
So the Cardinals' lead over the Reds and the Pirates is now 4 games after this 11-4 win in 10 innings. And Mike Matheny, who doesn't smile often during a game, allowing himself to smile a little bit as they celebrate a big win here tonight in Cincinnati. Again, the final in 10 innings, the Cardinals 11 and the Reds 4. Major League Baseball action continues here on ESPN tomorrow night at 7 Eastern as the Red Sox take on the Rays. Sports Center is next tonight here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The Cardinals pick up their first extra inning win of the year, beating Cincinnati 11-4. For Oral, Crucky, and Buster, I'm Dan Shulman saying so long from Cincinnati.